Hotel in St. Petersburg. The guy wrote to his girlfriend that he knows that she loves him, but he is very afraid that she is cheating on him, to which she replied to him, so that he lagged behind her. Then he carefully examined his phone and, crying, said that he had returned 100,000 years. He finally returned to his world. It was that very day. At that time, his girlfriend, Lin Fan, went to a rich man named Jan Quan, and then they kicked him out. Then Lin Fan told this rich man that he was much better than this poor man, but they couldn't even imagine that Lin Fan was pregnant with his child. And when the stranger found out, he hired a murderer to kill him. After his death, he was reborn in another world. Fortunately, he received the Stone of 9 Heavenly Gods. Later, he dominated the realm of the other world for 1,000 years, and there were many obstacles. However, this did not stop him. Then he decided to break through the barrier by force in order to become stronger, but was struck by a demon in his heart, and then he failed. But he was not destined to die. The trace of his soul rushed to the sky, turned back in time and space, and returned to Earth. In addition to the fact that he returned to his roots, more importantly, the Stone of 9 Heavenly Gods also returned with him. He now has 1,000 years of experience and a Stone of 9 Heavenly Gods in time. It will surely rise again. All this time, he was sitting in the toilet and reaching for the paper. He realized that it was gone. Meanwhile, Lin Fan was molesting her new boyfriend and asking him to kiss her. The guy all this time stood outside the door and eavesdropped on them. He thought, what a hypocrite she was, and how could he have loved such a person in his past life? Then he entered the room. Lin Fan told him to get out of here. He doesn't deserve her. She pointed to the money that was on the table and said that the $30,000 was given to him by her dear, so let him get out and not get in the way in the future. Rich man. John told her that she is so cute. Her voice is so gentle. Don't take me away. It's amazing that this guy fell in love with her. Lin Fan was embarrassed and thanked him for that. Lin Fan thought that as far as he remembered, she had always been very cold towards him. Lin Fan showed him her ring on her finger and said for him to look at this new diamond ring. Zhangzi bought her especially for her. It costs more than 100,000 yuan. He must think of them. For the last few years he couldn't even buy her a ring. Lin Fan stretched by her, smiled and asked if she was happy. Then why was she saying all this? And he himself thought that he would not waste his time on them. They are like ants in his eyes. But Zhangzi did not like these words. He hit the table and turning to Lin Fan, said, yes. How dare he say such things to his new girlfriend? He should immediately apologize to her. Here, apparently, Zhang Zhao's bodyguard came and turning to Lin Fan, asked him, what had he not heard? His boss told him to apologize, to which Lin Fan replied that he was afraid that they were not worthy of making him apologize. Let them keep these 30,000 for themselves. They can save a little on medicines. And he wishes her a long life and never look down on others. Zhang Shul's commanded his bodyguard. The bodyguard nodded and blocked Lin Sang's way. Zhangzi asked him, what did he really decide to leave after he reprimanded him? Why does he have so much courage? He must immediately kneel. He must apologize to him and lick his shoes until he is satisfied, and then he will let him go. Lin Fan said that, yes, this would be a good lesson for him, who does not know who he thought he was. Now he must hurry up and kneel before Zhangzi. Lin Fan told her that he hadn't done anything to her, so why was she so aggressive? Jiangsu chuckled and said that this is the essence of Laozi. He will give her a chance to eat it. Lin Fan was very happy and told him that he was great. Lin Fan was so angry that he clenched his hand into a fist, but then he relaxed her and said that if the old him were here, he would lose his temper. He exhaled and added that now he has changed his mind, because he realized that they are not yet worthy of having him move his hand. One of the bodyguards commanded the other to beat him. This bodyguard, turning to Lin Fan, asked that he didn't hear what the boss said to him. He grabbed him by the shoulder and said that he advised him to obediently kneel. Lin Fan asked him that he wanted to die. Right now he was studying a very sinister aura. Zhangzi was shocked and said that his eyes, Lin Fan said they were so creepy. But then she pulled herself together and said that, how could she be afraid of such rubbish? She turned to Zhangzi and told him to just look at him. He's a bum. He's not worth it. Jiangsu told him to watch his tongue. But then he collapsed, and he dropped that essence from his hands. Lin Fan asked if he was okay, and then this essence went right into her mouth. and she swallowed it. She fell to the floor and started screaming, "That is disgusting." She's just furious. She called out to Lin Feng that they weren't done with him yet. Lin Feng had already gone outside and thought that, at any rate, his fate was in his hands. That's it. As far as that Zhongzi, he doesn't have time to deal with him right now. After all, he's out of shape now. He urgently needs to start training and earn money in order to honor the memory of his parents. In this world, only with great power can one become omnipotent. And he doesn't know if he can see his family again. And since he returned then, in this case, he will live a full life. Life and will not bend under anyone in this life. He will certainly transcend the past and will stand on top of this vast universe. His sister is very frail and sick all year round. She has tuberculosis. His biggest regret is in his previous life. It is to watch his sister die and become helpless. So now he decided to go to the store. The salesman greeted him and asked if he could help him. Lin Fang said that he needed a good multi-flowered knotweed. He held out the money and thought, well, he thinks this money should be enough. The seller asked him to wait a bit. Lin Fang said that it was good, and thought that for him now all human diseases are absolutely not terrible. And now he really needs a multi-flowered mountaineer. At that moment, just the same seller brought what he needed, and having paid the money, Lin Fang left the store. He thought that if you had a stone of 9 heavenly gods and his knowledge gained, and also use chant, directing it down, then he can completely cure his sister's long-term illness as well. He went into the house and said that he had returned. And then he saw a group of bandits. They called her sister Little Lady, and told her to open the door for them. After all old friends came to them, Lin Fang asked them what they were doing here. Hearing her brother's voice, sister immediately ran out to him. Lin Fang told Zita not to be afraid. Zita hugged her brother and said that she was so scared. One of these bandits approached Lin Fang from behind and said that this was his useless thing. Lin Fang turned to them, radiating an evil aura, and asked them why they were bullying his sister. No one dares to touch his sister. The bandit obviously did not expect this and said that how dare he intimidate him. He asked him if he really thought that the fury he portrayed could frighten Lao Tzu. He had warned him earlier to move out within a week, otherwise, he shouldn't blame him for being rude. He doesn't seem to see Lao Tzu in him. Lin Fang thought that he remembers that this was the home of his parents, which they took in the year of their wedding. Now Zhongzi Real Estate Company has decided to demolish it. They want to demolish their house, but they don't want to pay compensation. They're just a bunch of trash. But first, he walked closer to them and asked again that they were bullying his sister. Zita seemed to be very frightened, and pulling her brother by the clothes, told him to forget about this. They can't handle them. Lin Feng smiled at her and patted her on the head, telling her not to be afraid. He asked her that this bald man bullied her. What did he do to her? Zita said that he tried to take off her clothes, but he failed and touched her a few more times. Lin Fang became even more angry than before, and said that he wanted to undress and touch several times. After that, he directed his power at this bald man. The bald man got very scared and told him to stop. Lin Fan did not retreat, after which, he approached this man, slammed him into the ground, and asked him why he dared to touch his sister. He stepped on his hand and broke it. Lin Fang began to choke this bald man and said that his words sounded unconvincing. He thought he should work on his teeth first. The man begged him to let him go. Lin Fang asked him, why did they come? He released this man, and he began to bow to him, asking him to let them go. They were very stupid. Lin Fang asked, what is it? The men began to say that he was very sorry that this had happened. After that, Lin Fang went to his sister's house and asked her how she was doing at school. Zita said that she had not been there for a whole week and had been very sick all these days. Lin Fang thought that his sister was also very ill in a past life, and he still cannot get rid of the shadow of guilt. Leaving his sister alone, he stayed late every day with Lin Chang-kan. And now, thinking about it, he really isn't human, and now he wants to make amends from his past life. He smiled at his sister and said that he had found a cure for her. Let her look at this. Xiaobao asked, what? What's the use of it? Lin Yifan said that she would soon understand everything herself, and now she should turn her back. Xiaobao sat down with her back to him and asked, what is it? After that, Lin Fang began to do something with that drug. He thought, what needs to be brought together with the essence of the body, through the blood? He began to heal her, and then Zita began to hurt. And then she lost consciousness altogether. Lin Fan looked at her attentively, exhaling, said that everything went very well after she wakes up. If they repeat this session, she will definitely recover. After which, he hung the amulets on the door. He thought that ordinary people would not be able to approach with this amulet, and he could protect him from fatal injuries. His sister should be completely safe at home. After that, he again went out into the street and went somewhere. He dug into his pockets and took out the money, saying that it was only 100 yuan. He must find a way to earn some money, otherwise they will have nothing to eat. The only way to earn them is this gambling. He must cut the dough. Lin Fan said that cultivators see through everything. Once he gets inside, it will be like a fish out of water, but he doesn't want to stand out too much. When he approached this room, the men looked at him carefully and thought, why would this poor man come here? He doesn't think he can get rich here. But a visitor is a visitor, so he should not stop him. Then the game began. Lin Fan was met by two girls dressed as hares. They greeted him and asked him what he would like to play. Lin Fan began to drool and thought that he needed a lot of money in the shortest possible time so that his sister could indulge in nothing thing, and here they just flow like a river. He sat down and said that there were a lot of people at the table, so he could win a lot of money just sitting here. There were several other people at the table. The girl looking at him thought, what did this kid forget here? The man with one eye who was sitting next to him told him that he could only sit at the table with 10 people, but he still dared to sit here. Lin Fan also took out a cigarette and asked if it was true or what. Someone said that this kid is clearly running up. Another man said that at least 3 people at this table are big shots in Shanghai. Then a fat man came up to the Fan and said that he was an illiterate ignoramus. Lin Fan got up and asked what an ignoramus, and he himself thought that no one would dare to argue in the presence of a Taoist lord. An elderly man looking at Lin Fan thought that the inner strength of this kid surpasses even him. He had never met such a young master. It is even difficult for him to imagine what heights he can reach in the future. Lin Fan asked, let's say, what should he do in order for them to let him play? The man sitting next to him said that he should bring 10 million. He laughed and added that if, of course, he could. Lin Fan said he didn't have 10 million. Hearing this, they laughed at him. They began to say that this kid was probably just retarded. If he continues to irritate his older brothers, then he can be killed. The girl sighed and thought, what a stupid, ignorant kid he is. He also talks to his older brothers, who even let him in here. The one-eyed man, unable to stand it, hit the table and said that he had had enough, who even let him in here. The man who let him and came running. He scratched his head and said that he apologizes to us. He will deal with him now. Then he handed over to the guards by radio that they should come here very quickly and expel this child from the institution. But then that old man stood up for Lin Fan and told them to stop this circus. This younger brother is his guest. He put a bill on the table and asked if 30 million would be enough. Some guy whispered that Wei Lao was protecting this kid. The fat man immediately changed his mind and said that since the younger brother was a guest in her law, they better start playing. The one-eyed man also agreed and said that they had better start playing. Lin Fan took this bill and thanked Wei Lao, and I told him not to worry, because he would return them soon. The one-eyed man laughed and said, what a brazen kid he was, soon the money will be his. The girl carefully watched all the movements of Lin Fan and thought that she would soon make him know all the cruelty of this world. Then she started dealing cards, and I thought that a little bit of a card injury and he would never win. Now he will be left alone with Wei Lao. Lin Fan looked at this girl and thought that the last player to play was out of the game. Did she dare to try to deceive him? He sees through everything and her little trick too. Wei Lao looked at his cards and said that he felt bad taking their money. The girl was very surprised and thought that old Wei had the best cards, but he slipped them, and this means that the next card will be the best. What should she do? The one-eyed man said that he would soon have a full hand. He has no reason to pass now. It all depends on whether he accepts to play on. The fat man said that no one dares to tell him he is in the game. Those who watched this game said they had never seen such big stakes. Lin Fan said that he was also in the game. The one-eyed man thought that by improving his cards, but he still dares to play on. That's why he said he's doubling it. And I thought that this poor man did not have much money. He wants to see how long it lasts. The fat man said he was in the game, and he guessed then thought what it means. He wants to beat a boy. Lin Fan took out another cigarette and said that he was also doubling. Now his money is no longer enough. The one-eyed man said, okay, since his money ran out, And the audience was shocked. They said they couldn't believe it. How is this kid going to beat them? He's going to lose anyway. The fat man said it was just fine. Now he can't wait to look at his cards. The girl took the cards and looked at them. Turning to the plump man, said that he had lost and asked for forgiveness. A fat man jumped up and said that. How is it? He gritted his teeth, but then he exhaled and said that, okay, nothing. He just didn't expect that he could lose to some kind of milksucker. Then he sat back down. The one-eyed man shouted that it was go. Dao Destroyer accepted the bet. They show the cards. He had a pair of jacks. He clenched his teeth and thought that life, death, wealth, it's all in the hands of heaven. It is impossible that he lost to this boy. Lin Fan showed his cards and said that he had 5 aces of hearts. And he asked what he really thinks to win with some pair. Let him not even dream about it. The man who was hosting wiped his sweat off his face and said, 280 million. All this money goes to Mr. Lin Fan. After that, he got up and turning to all the losers, said that he was asking for forgiveness. But now all this money, sis. A one-eyed man could not bear it any longer. He got up from his seat and striking the table with his fist, shouted at him to come back. He may be lucky, but luck doesn't last forever. He promises that today, he will die as soon as he leaves here. Wei Lao told him that if he liked to play, he should be able to pay. What kind of drama is he doing here? People would be ashamed. The one-eyed man asked him why. Why is he standing up for this boy again? Wei Lao told him to sit down. The one-eyed man clucked and sat down hatefully. Meanwhile, Lin Fan had already received his money. He approached Wei Lao and said that here is the 30 million that he borrowed from him. Now he is returning it to him. Wei Lao said it was good. It's very kind of him. He handed him a business card and told him to take it and invite him to be friends. If he has problems, he can find him in Tiadu. Lin Fan thought that this old man, Wei, was really not easy. Only retired high-ranking officials live in Tiadu. Lin Fan accepted his business card and thanked him for it. He told him that today, he was in his debt, and one day, he would definitely repay him. Old man Wei nodded at him. He called out to the baby Ning and told him to take Mr. Lin Fan home. Little Ning said that, yes, he would take care of his safety. Meanwhile, Zhangzi was very angry. He said, what an audacity it was. He's not going to let him down. He would immediately call his older brother Ning, and he will definitely deal with this boy. Ling Kan said that her husband is amazing. They should teach him a lesson. Zhangzi hugged her and said that he would definitely, and they themselves left the First People's Hospital. Meanwhile, baby Ning was taking Lin Fan home in the car. Lin Fan decided to smoke. Little Ning told him that Master Wei had a high opinion of him, and he even ordered to learn from him. Lin Fan smiled at him and waved his hand and said that he should just practice self-cultivation. That's all then. Baby Ning got a call from an unknown number. He answered it. The baby Ning was told that one person had raised his hand against them and that they had to deal with him. Maybe he can help them. Little Ning gripped the steering wheel of the car with all his strength and asked what idiot would dare to do that? And he told them to dictate the address to him. He would figure it out. Zhangzi told brother Ning to hurry up. Ning's brother said, what a shame, are they afraid to enter? Wei Lap asked him to take someone to that area so he would be there soon. Lin Fan got out of the car, and again, noticed a group of guys at his side. Even Zhangzi himself came here. When he saw Lin Fan, he pointed his finger at him and said that today he contacted his older brother, so now he is definitely finished. Lin Fan sighed and asked, did he really have nothing to do? He looked at Lin Kan and asked, what kind of a ghost that looks like a person? To which the girl answered him that who is she? In his opinion, she can kill him right now because he is not worthy of her. Then brother Ning himself came. He asked, what is going on here? Zhangzi was very happy to see him, and pointing his finger at Lin Fan, he told his brother that this was the guy who beat him. Ning's brother looked at him and said that a person who is not going to be beaten. But Lin Fan interrupted him, told him to calm down, let him finish. Zhangzi said that he would remember everything for him. Isn't he scared right now? Why shouldn't he run away now? And called him stupid. Lin Kan walked up to brother Ning and said that he was so handsome. And turning to the tench, the Fen told him to look at himself again. Compared to him, he is just a clown who jumps around with a beam. It means that he is a frivolous person. Zhangzi told her that it was a Ningji from a very popular security agency YY. To date, he will kill Lin Fan and no one will dare to take revenge on him. Lin Fan laughed and told Lin Fan to just look at himself how poor he is. Lin Fan he did not even raise an eyebrow at all these offensive words. He listened to everything they told him and asked what they had finished how noisy and rude they are. But Lin Fan said no, because she had more to say to him. She turned to Ning's brother and said that now it was his turn. Ning's brother said that it was really time for him to intervene because he couldn't take it anymore. Zhangzi laughed and said that elder brother and Ning was going to show his strength. He must beat Lin Fan. But brother Ning hit Zhangzi in the face. Zhangzi grabbed his cheek and called out to brother Ning. He asked him what he asked to beat this guy. Then what did he hit him with? Ning's brother was very angry and asked him if he was blind. He dared to offend Master Lin. Mr. Lin is an important guest of Mr. Wei. He thinks that Zhangzi is just tired. He doesn't think so. Zhangzi was shocked and thought, how can this little Lin Fan ingratiate himself with someone like Wei? Lao. Ning's brother then called out to him to kneel down and beg Mr. Lin's forgiveness. But then Lin Fan intervened and told brother Ning to forget about it. He's not in the mood right now talking to a lousy dog. He should just let it go. Ning's brother listened to him and looked at Zhangzi and told them to get out of here, or are they waiting for his punishment? Zhangzi got up and said that it was good. Ning's brother looked at the departing Lin Fan and thought that he was scolding Mr. Lin on the phone. Will he now take revenge on him? So he told him that he was really sorry, but he didn't know it was him. But Lin Fan said that everything was fine. He should return. He doesn't need to worry about such trifles. Ning's brother was confused, but after he came to his senses and smiling, he said that among the many adults present, Xiaoda stayed at home and painted at her desk. Then she heard the door open and realized that it was her brother, and she immediately got up from the table and ran to meet him. Lin Fan hugged her and said that he had returned. He thought that he had won $2 million. He naturally offended many. But what if the whole world is against him? After all, he just wants to protect his sister's smile. Huling Mountain is half like Jiajing Villa areas. Lin Fan came there with his sister. Xiaoda was running ahead of him, but then she stopped and turning to her brother, asked, what was this pillbox house where they would live later? Lin Fan smiled at her and said, of course, and he himself thought that the location of the original rented house was mixed with fish and dragons, which is not suitable for a Jada injury. It is better to spend 40 million to buy this clean villa here. Zita stopped and turned to her brother and said that this villa must be very expensive. They better not spend any more money, because the Xiaoda house is just beautiful. Lin Fan thought for a moment and said that everything was fine. That her brother earns money, and the villa is nothing to him. And he himself thought that when other children were still innocent, Jada was already worried about food at home. This made him feel bad. Zide asked, what is fair? Lin Fan patted her head and asked her, when did her brother lie to her? She'd better go to bed now and rest a little longer. Zita said that her brother is the best. Then she ran into the house. When Lin Fan was left alone, he said that in this life, he has the strength to protect the people he cherishes, and he wants this life to leave no regrets. Morning of the next day, Lin Fan worked hard in the kitchen. He set the table with different dishes and said that his sister's favorite breakfast, she should be happy after eating. Now it's time for him to go to uni. When he went outside, he thought that at that time he was still a student at the Medical University of Fashion. Although he does not need to learn superficial knowledge on Earth, but still, there are some things that can improve the cultivation at the university, and he is still very interested. Lin Fan arrived at the medical university. Then a man called out to him, who got out of the car and told him to come here and help him carry these things into the classroom, to which Lin Fan replied that he did not have time. The man got angry and shouted at him that he was his teacher at the medical faculty. Lin Fan told him that by taking his time, he could do it himself. The teacher thought that on weekdays, even the principal of the school treats him. He caught up with Lin Fan and stopping him by the shoulder, told him to let him say something to him. He has to move today. If he doesn't, he will be kicked out. Lin Fan told him to let him go. The teacher said he wouldn't let that happen. He wanted to hit him, but Lin Fan managed to dodge. The teacher told him, yes. How dare he dodge? Lin Fan told his teacher that if he crossed this line, he would die. He did not kill him, and this is already the greatest kindness that he could give him. The teacher lay on the ground and shouted to him to wait for him. After some time in the classroom, Lin Fan came there and knocked, thinking that in a past life he had to interrupt his studies in order to deal with his girlfriend Lin Can. However, now it's ridiculous to even think about it, because he dropped out of school for the sake of such a damned woman. Now, of course, he wants to go back to the university. The man who was sitting in this office and asked who was there. Lin Fan came in and told a headmaster that he was here to go back to the university. The director accepted his documents and asked that his name was Lin Fan, right? After all, he just quit the course. Why does he regret it? In less than a few days, then his teacher burst into the office and told the director, a member, not to listen to this child. Director Chen asked Professor Liang what was the matter with him. Professor Liang said that the current students are like bullies. Dare to beat the teacher, such people should be expelled. The principal member turned to Lin Fan and said that he still had some things to do here, but he agreed with his statement about returning to school, so he has to go to class first. Lin Fan said it was good. He saw with his teacher and asked what happened. The teacher told him that he didn't expect him to dare to take the initiative to come here this time. He won't let him drop out of school or he won't have a good name. Director Chen asked the professor, What is he talking about? The professor began to explain to the principal what the matter was, and he said that it was because of his rudeness towards him. He should offer him to be exiled right now. In the end, they have to send him to prison for several years. Director Chen did not understand the whole situation. He asked, what was the matter? He thinks Lin Fan was just impulsive. As teachers, they must give a chance to students who make mistakes. It is inevitable for a young man. Whatever he did, let him apologize to him. Lin Fan said that, just because of him, you shouldn't make him apologize. The teacher was just furious. He told the director to just look at it. The headmaster, a member, tried to calm him down and told the teacher not to be so worried. He will definitely give him a satisfactory answer. The professor told the principal that he must, without giving them an official vote, let him leave this university at once. The director sighed and said everything was fine. He turned to Lin Fan and said that he beat the teacher. Since this is his first crime, he was suspended for 1 year. And now he has to go home with his application. But Lin Fan was not ready to put up with it. He hit the table so that it cracked. And he told the director that he did not agree with him. The principal was frightened and asked him, how dare he talk to the rector like that? Not even the dean dares to be half disrespectful to him. The professor turned to Lin Fan and said that it was the first time he saw someone so arrogant. Lin Fan laughed and asked, what is it? But later, they themselves will find out what a real scandal is, and now he himself will deal with the procedure for returning to the university. At this point, the director also started to get angry. He started yelling at Lin Fan, asking that he still wanted to return to the university. He tells him that he won't be able to stay here even a day. Lin Fan turned everything towards the door and said that he would leave first. Then he slammed the door behind him. The professor and director were simply horrified. Meanwhile, at the school gates, Lin Fan took something out of his pocket and said that he didn't expect to use those connections so soon. Then he took out his phone and dialed Ning's brother and told him that he wanted him to do something for him. In the director's office, the director himself apparently had fun with the girl, and then the phone rang. He gasped in surprise. The director was very angry and picked up the phone and asked who it was. But when he heard what they said to him, he shook all over and he began to chatter that why. Meanwhile, in the hallway of the school building, Lin Fan entered class. A girl was sitting by the window. He walked over and called out to her, calling her Zizou. He thought that she was supposed to be his first love, but unfortunately, he was so obsessed with this past life that he let down such a good girl. He smiled at her and said he was back. Zizou blushed and rushed to hug him. Lin Fan stroked her head and said that he had returned. He thought that he was extremely stupid in his past life, causing pain to others, and in this life, he will definitely fix it all. Just then, someone else entered the classroom and called out to them rudely. It was some guy, and when he saw them hugging, he asked Lin Fan what he was doing. One of the students said that it was Ku Hansen. He didn't expect him to come to class. The girl said that, who doesn't know that Ku Hansen loves Shi Zizhong, and Lin Fan dared to grab her. The other girl said that this time he would die. Ku Hansen walked close to Lin Fan. He looked at Zizhong and kindly told her that she should come up because he had something to say to her. But apparently the girl was afraid of him, and hiding behind Lin Fang's back, said, "No, he just needs to tell her about it here." At this, Ku Hansen got angry and reached out his hand for her, saying, "No, she should follow him." But Lin Fang stopped his hand. Ku Hansen took one step back and was quite surprised. Lin Fang was also already on edge and told this guy to leave, as she was not a woman he could touch. Ku Hansen chuckled and told him that he had no right to speak here. He turned to Zikijo and told her not to dishonor herself. Lao Tzu loves her because he deserves her, and she really annoys Liasu because she just wants to be thrown into the cheapest place. Zhejiang was so frightened that she was shaking all over. Lin Fang told her not to worry, because he was here now. Then Ku Hansen shouted that it was so bad he thought she was clean, but he didn't expect that. Lin Fang was also already furious seeing his face. Ku Hansen laughed and asked him if he didn't make sure of it, but how can he defeat him? This is just bullshit. Is it just a waste of time? Let him try to hit him. Lin Fang approached him, and Ku Heng Crossing continued to repeat that this was nonsense, waste of time, and that he's weak. Let him hit him as hard as he can. And then Lin Fang really hit him so hard that he even flew off. Lin Fang asked him if he really thought he couldn't defeat him. Ku Hien Asai grabbed his face and began to scream. He thought that he did not expect this guy to be so strong, but he should kill him first. Lin Fang stood right in front of him and asked him if he still wanted to continue. Seeing him so close, Ku Hansen shook with fear and said, "No, he made a mistake. He should give him a break." Zero Lin Fans was really very angry and said that it didn't work with him. Ku Hansen then said that this was his chance, and pounced on him, told him to sigh and use Starburst. But Lin Fang hit him again, and then grabbed him by the head and hit him with his knee in the stomach, and he also broke his leg. Siu Hansen cried out in such intense pain. Lin Fang swung again in order to hit him, but Ku Hansen asked him to stop. He began to beg for him to stop, but Lian Fun did not stop, and hit him again, slamming him into the floor, and called him a pathetic bull. Zikijo turned to Lin Fang and told him that he scared her a lot. She asked if he was okay. Lin Fan smiled and said he was fine. She didn't have to worry about him. Then some guy called Chong King Sign came in to contribute. He asked Lin Fei if he didn't know who Cheng's father was, he should not create problems for his classmate. Lin Fan chuckled and asked, "Who is this stupid big guy?" Chong adjusted his glasses and said that his father was a very high official. Shouldn't he have done this? However, since it is an observer in the class, it cannot ignore such things. Even though Cheng's classmate passed out, he needs to apologize to him. Lin Fang asked him, "What was it?" He makes him apologize. Chong got angry and asked him that he dares to scold him. Lin Fang hugged Zikijo and asked him, "What, how about Togo scold him? He must close his eyes." Chong couldn't take it anymore and called him names. He shouted that this is not the end. Then he turned around and left. Just then, Qinjin entered the classroom and asked what was going on here. It was their teacher, and Chong immediately decided to complain to her about Lin Fan. He said he hit someone and knocked him out. Qingjin asked him what happened. Lin Feng leaned back in his chair and said that he had no idea. Chong pointed to the beaten Ku Hansen and told the teacher that Lin Fan had a terrible and cruel personality. If she doesn't believe him, then she should ask everyone about it. Qingjin asked if this is true. Everyone turned around to look at Lin Fan, but he just glared at them. Qingjin sighed and said they were just guys, a bunch of kids. She turned to Lin Fang and said that he needed to go with her to the office. She needs to tell him something. Lin Fang was delighted and said that it was good. Passing by Chan, he said goodbye to him and said that he had 4 eyes. When Laziness, Fanan the teacher left, Chan got furious and said that he was just furious. Let just Laziness fan him wait. After that, he took out his phone and called Bai Shen and said that sister's son went to the office with a man. Bai Shen, what did you tell him? To which Chan replied that he knew. He himself thought that now Lin Fan was dead. Beiji, known as the White Emperor, is the main figure in the magical medic. Meanwhile, in the teacher's classroom, Qin Qin sat opposite Lin Fun, asked him how is his house now, is his sister okay? Lin Fun did not answer, only nodded, after which he said that he thanked her very much for her concern. His sister is so much better that she is ready to go to school. And he asked if there was anything why Qing teacher was looking for him today. Qin teacher said that Zimei and he will start going to school again. They must also pay to tuition fees. It must be very difficult, right? Housing prices are now very high. Even if the rent is very expensive, they still have nowhere to live. She was embarrassed and said that they could stay with the teacher for the time being. Lin Fan thought that in a past life, Qin Jing had helped him, but in this world, he had enough strength. After that, he wanted to tell her something, but he was interrupted by a call to the lesson. The embarrassed teacher jumped up and said that she would lead one more lesson. First, she put a piece of paper in his hand and said that after school, Putin comes to her at this address. Lin Fan wanted to say something else to her, but the teacher left very quickly. He looked at the sheet and scratched his head, said that you need to forget about it. Then he left the office and closed the door behind him. But right after the Lin Fan, a man broke into the office. He was furious and said he was late. He took out some kind of bracelet and said that even if she ran away, he would still find her. Then, thanks to this bracelet, he recreated the image of the man with whom the Qin teacher left, and it was Lin Fan. Bai Shen carefully examined this guy and said that this is the same guy. He got even angrier and asked how he could touch his woman with him. Now he's definitely dead. He sat down near the table and began to smell it. He looked like a madman, and said that the smell of Qin Jing was so pleasant. Meanwhile, Lin Fan came to the school library. He thought that although he had been a beggar in his past life, he had also seen in the school newspaper news that a medical university professor had developed some kind of medicine back then. He didn't care about this strange effect, but now he feels. Now that the energy of the sky and the earth are depleted, the cultivation is too slow. If he can find the mysterious potion in the college, then it will be very helpful for his development. Then someone called out to him. It was Ziju. She asked him, "Why is he here?" She walked closer to him and asked if there was something wrong with Master Qin. Lin Fan said that they were just talking about some academic issues. At the same time, two guys entered the library. They were looking for something very diligently. Then one of them saw the Fan's laziness and said, "Brother Shen, that this small white face dared to take away the woman of Vice President Hang Xing." Shen's brother was furious and asked, "What's up, really?" This guy told him that Boss Hansen had been defeated, only his sneak attack. As soon as he himself gets into it, he will definitely defeat him. Shen's brother laughed and said that it was true that a small child like him was not enough to defeat him. Then Zikijo noticed that the two guys were moving in the direction of Lin Fan and called out to him. Then Brother Shun approached Lin Fan and said that his name was Lin Fan, wasn't it? And he reached out to take him by the shoulder, but laziness, Fan grabbed his hand. Brother, Shen tensed up and thought, is it really only with one hand? Lin Fan looked at him and said that he should not be so Brother, Shen was furious and shouted that it was good. Does he really want to die? Let him go to hell. Then he was about to hit him with his other hand. Lin Fan noticed this and asked if it was so. Then he dodged his attack. Brother Shen was surprised and at the same time furious. He asked, "What?" But he did not have time to say anything more, as Lin Fan hit him in the face, knocking out his tooth. Brother Shen even flew off from the blow. Lin Fan said, "God, how nosy." Then he looked at the guy who brought Brother Shen and asked, "What about him?" This guy was so scared that he took his brother Shen with him and ran away, and said that this was not the end. After dealing with them, Lin Fan sighed and said that his good mood was ruined again. Ziju asked him, when did he become so strong? Lin Fan said that he used to be just reserved. Ziju said that she would not believe it, and she asked him if he would like to have dinner together. Lin Fan scratched his head and said that he already had plans, so he thought that he should go to Qin Jin. Ziju asked, "What is it?" Lin Fan told her not to worry if he is free tomorrow. He does not know if he has the right to invite this beauty to dinner. Ziju, embarrassed, started waving her fists and said that he was a fool. After that, Lin Fan went to the address given to him by the Qin Jin teacher. He came to a big house and said that it must be here. After which, he rang the bell. The Qin Jin teacher opened it for him and said that it was him. Let him come in soon. When Lin Fan entered the house, she told him to sit down, because the rice would be ready soon. Then she went back to the stove. Lin Fan looked at her carefully, and thought that in a past life, she was the only one who was kind to him. But suddenly, one day, she jumped off the roof of a commercial and economic building, and the police treated it like a normal suicide. But in this life, he would never let that happen. Then he came to his senses, as the teacher called him. She told him not to stand like a pillar. Let him come here and eat. Lin Fan smiled at her and said it was go, and thanked her. After some time, when they were both sitting at the table and eating, The teacher asked him what he thought of her proposal. Lin Fan said that he recently went to work. The boss looked at him and took pity and also gave him a staff room so she has nothing to worry about. Then the teacher told him that if he had any problems, he should come to her, because she would help him. Lin Fan thanked her again. After they ate, Lin Fan told his teacher that if everything was okay, he would go first. Then teacher Chin stopped him and asked why she shouldn't see him off. Lin Fan agreed. After Jin teacher washed the dishes, they decided to take a walk in the community garden. They discussed something very strongly, and the teachers, laughing, said that this student was really interesting. But Lin Fan noticed some movement in the bushes and turned around and told him to show himself. Then he went to the bushes and sat down and began to look carefully. Teacher Chin followed him and asked him what he was doing. Lin Fan did not say anything to her. He took a stone and, throwing it in that direction, told him to show himself. Now this stone clearly hit the Togo man who was hiding in the bushes, and he jumped out, fell right at their feet. Lin Fan approached him and asked that they had just met for the first time, and he wanted to leave so quickly, didn't he? He must get up quickly. The man got up and told him. Yes, how dare he? The Qing teacher saw him and, frightened, asked what it was. After all, Bai Shen. What was he doing here? Bai Shen laughed wickedly and turned to the teacher and said that, of course, he came to see her, but he didn't expect her to have a guest. Qin teacher turned to Lin Fan and told him that he could leave right now. But Bai Shen approached Lin Fan, grabbing his neck and asking if he really wanted to leave. He stopped him and said, no, he couldn't. Teacher Qin was shaking all over with fear. Bai Shen turned to the Qin teacher and told her to come and serve him now and only, and would he let this guy go? And he asked her if she hurt him. Then he laughed again. But Lin Fan abruptly broke away from the man's grip and grabbed teacher Qin's hand, saying that they had to go. He will take her to a very interesting place. Bai Shen was shocked, thinking that when this guy, he swore and jumped straight towards them and asked him, what? How dare he ignore him? He was about to hit him. But Lin Fan pushed him away. Bai Shen crashed into a pillar and bled. Lin Fan turned to him and asked, what, and is this really all he can do? He didn't expect him to be a body-tempering cultivator. Bai Shen stood up and said that no one in the entire university could compete with him, but unfortunately, he met him. Lin Fan turned to the teacher Price, told her to be sure that he would protect her. Bai Shen laughed again and asked, yes, really? And he took out his bracelet again. He started to drip his blood. Lin Fan tensed up and thought that it was a magical weapon. Magic tools are usually owned by monks and are a very rare expo friend. Then they heard an ominous scream. Bai Shen chuckled again. Then he reached out to Lin Fan and told him to go to hell. This strange magic power was directed right at him, and then pierced his body. Bai Shen was very happy and thought it worked. He told him that he made him use 9 ghost beads, and it would be an honor for him to die from them. And he himself thought, looking at his bead, that these 9 ghostly beads were his birthday present from his old ancestor. Soaking them in blood can awaken the ghostly fire hidden in them. He had already killed countless cultivators with this method, so don't let Lin Fan blame him for that. But Lin Fan was in perfect order and asked him that this was his trump card, wasn't it? Bai Shen was shocked and asked, what? Sloth Fan grabbed the ghost fire with his hand and crushed him. Then he said, what a disappointment it is. He actually wanted to kill the immortal soul, didn't he? Is he seriously stupid? Bai Shen asked, how is this even possible? How could he survive? Lin Fan told him that he would let him see his power. After that, many such lights appeared in the air, and he said that this is the real power. All this fire began to approach directly to the Bai Shen. Bai Shen began to shout that it was simply impossible. This is impossible. Why can he control a flame stronger than himself? Lin Fan said that a dead person doesn't need to know so much. Then he said goodbye to him. At his call, all this fire began to attack directly on the Bai Shen. Bai Shen kept saying that it was impossible. It's just not possible. After that, he started screaming in pain. Lin Fan stopped by his beads. He picked them up and began to examine them. Then the Qin teacher ran up to him and asked him what he had done. Lin Fan ignored her questions, thinking that in a land where Che was almost depleted, it was not so easy to obtain magic weapons. Although it is not very strong, it is better than nothing. Then he turned to his teacher and, smiling at her, said that this was a little secret, and he told her that there was no need to see him further. Teacher Qin stood there for a while, then shouted a big thank you to him. Lin Fan, without turning around, just waved his hand at her. Teacher Chin thought it was really him. After some time, Lin Fan came to his villa. He entered the house and saw that the light was still on in his sister's room. He opened her door and asked if she was still awake. Xiaomi was already in his bed and said that she was waiting for him to return. Lin Fan approached his sister and began to stroke her head, saying that what a stupid girl she is, she should go to bed already. After that, Zmi trudged sleepily into her bed. Lin Fang sat down on the sofa and watched her and said that this child. But while walking up the stairs, Zmi stumbled and screamed. Lin Fang was very worried about her and shouted for her to be careful. Then he lifted everything inside. Then his sister looked out from around the corner and asked him what happened this time. Apparently she was very worried, therefore she spoke slowly and said that there would be a party in the class next week, and she asked if she could. But Lin Fang immediately understood what was being said, and smiling, he told her that if she wants to go, then let her go. Xiaomi was very happy. He twisted it in his hands and said that, well, you need to start. He began to concentrate, but then he felt something, and clapped his hands. Flames flared in his hands, just why this flame began to rush all over his room. Lin Fang thought that there was still some energy left in these beads. Since Bai Shan had not yet begun to practice yet, however, he was able to use this technique. Lin Feng thought that the world of cultivators is divided into 9 realms: the existence of Tsai, the construction of the foundation, Ningyuan, Dongsu, Nirvana, Sendai, Destroy, Merge and Create. 9 large areas are separated from the gray one below Sendai is Van and above Sendai, Xian. The kingdom of Sendai, as the name suggests, is the creation of 9-tiered Hori in the body, 1 order and a 1-day sky. 9-tiered Sendai, Chen, heaven and earth together, show you an immortal. So the Sinai kingdom is also called a magical country. Lin Feng had already been in the same realm in his past life. The immortal names had spread throughout the 3,000 worlds with his own Daoyang method, the Daoist method. He defeated his opponents and went through the entire immortal world without defeat. He is also respected, like an emperor by other immortals. However, after that, how he got 9 heavenly stones. After in a fight, he faced the Xianzong alliance. In the end, at the top of the magical land flying in, he fought 36 Xianzong alone. That battle broke down. All the souls sobbed blood. In desperation, Lin Fang suddenly developed the Daoyan of Taoism to its limits. This power made the whole magical land alarmed. All 36 immortal, venerable gods were destroyed. After this war, half of the immortal world became a dangerous place. And Lin Fang also fell after all this and ended up here in this world. He would cultivate every realm to the limit and then destroy the immortal world. Lin Fang was very focused and said it was his first step in his ascent. Then he began to concentrate again. There his fire penetrated his body, widening his eyes. He thought that after absorbing the sky, he had finally moved on to stage 1 Psi cultivation. He exhaled and said that at that time, he was busy with socializing with other people, and he did not start training with the 9th heaven stone. He began to concentrate and thought that in this life, he would allow her to completely master him. All this time, Zmi slept sweetly in her bed and did not suspect anything. After 30 minutes, Lin Fang was already completely exhausted, but still he was very pleased with his result and said that it was a very good result. With this immortal law, one can freely cross the world. In some dark space, now there was an old man sitting there and meditating, but then he broke out of his mouth. His blood flowed. He fell to the ground and asked what was happening here. The scent of beads is gone. Is Bai Shen, damn it, who dared to kill his grandson. This old man will kill his whole family. He took 2 skulls and clapping his hands, broke them. Then he said that Bai Shen had been killed and the beads were destroyed. The next day at school, Lin Fang walked down the hallway of his school and thought that even though he raised the realm through cultivation last night, that this is a white song, an unusual person. He opened the door and walked into the classroom and sat down in his seat there. He thought again and thought that he was afraid that there would be even more obnoxious characters in the future. Then Ziju approached him and said that he came very early today. She smiled at him and waved her hand and asked how he was doing. Lin Feng also smiled, called at her and said that he was fine. Chang was horrified and very annoyed. He asked, why didn't the Bai Shen do anything to him? Why hadn't Principal Chen expelled him from school yet? Then some guy told him to let him not mention it. Yesterday, More than a dozen people in their martial arts club practiced it, but this Lin Fan destroyed them all. Chang got scared and asked, "Why is it really so scary?" This guy said that this jerk obviously practiced Kung Fu before pretending he saw that. Lin Fan did not nod and did not dare to raise his eyes. It turns out that all this time, he looked at Ziju and said that even his goddess, Lin Fan, dared to take her away from him. With this guy next to him, he won't be able to approach the goddess. Why don't they find a chance then? When GZ Kijo is left alone, they will take her away, and then she will be his woman. Chang laughed and said it was a very good idea. He thought that Lin Fan irritated him too much. Well, what can he do? What will he see? Ziju called out to Lin Fan again and asked him if he hadn't forgotten what he had said to her before. Lin Fan smiled at her and said that, of course, he had not forgotten, and asked if her house is not a restaurant. Maybe they should go to her restaurant to eat there. Zisu said, "Yes, it is a very good idea." She hesitated and said, "Yes." However, Lin Fan thought that in the past, Zi Chejo's parents had warned him to stay away from their daughter because he was too poor to be worthy of Ziju. But now everything is different. Tea restaurant. Lin Fan came there together with Zisu. One Zi Kijo came in and opened the door and said that she had returned. Her mother was there now, who turned around and smiled at her daughter, saying that she had already come. She must hurry, but then she saw Lin Fan and immediately fell silent. Lin Fan greeted her. Zijo's mother didn't say anything. She just walked over to her daughter and grabbed her by the hand, telling her to go, because they need to talk. They moved a little further away, and the mother asked her daughter that didn't she tell her to communicate with him less. Why did she bring him home? To which her daughter said that Lin Fan and she are just friends. Her mother looked at Lin Fan and said that they were just friends. Zizhong said that Lin Fan is also a very good person. Mom told her daughter to listen to her. She should no longer communicate with him, because it's all for her own good. Zizhong sighed and said one thing was fine. Mom told her that she meant that they have a small family. But that does not mean that anyone can enter it. Therefore, in no case should she be led to the beautiful words of strangers. Zisu couldn't help it anymore and shouted out that if she continued like this, she would get angry. Then they heard a sound. It was a group of bandits who arrived on motorcycles. After that, they began to have fun. And with their beats, they began to break glass in a tea restaurant. Then they burst into the restaurant and told all outsiders to get out of here, otherwise he would kill them all. People got very scared and ran away. Then Zijuo's father came down and asked what was happening here. Why is it so noisy here? But he saw the bandits and was very frightened. One of them said that it was greetings from the boss. His business is booming. I wonder when he's going to return their money. Father told brother Lon to listen to him. He was shaking all over, and he said that he had money now, so let them extend their term. But the man grabbing him by the throat laughed and said that he dared to borrow and then not repay. Is he tired of living? This man turned to his brother and said that this old man does not want to return the money. What will they do with it? The father began to kick and told the brother of the moons to listen to him taking his life. He won't be able to get the money back. He just has to give him some time. Mother and daughter were very scared. The man who was strangling him looked at his mother and daughter and said that his wife and daughter were so beautiful that he even felt sorry for him. He must lend them to him for a few months before he can play with them, and he will give him a few days. The father shouted no, and turning to his family, told them to run away from here as quickly as possible. Then this man threw him away and told him to shut up. He looked at the women and began to grin. Mom covered her daughter. After that, this bandit said that these beauties should come up to him, but he stood up for them. Lin Fan. He grabbed the guy's hand and asked that his name was Van Long, wasn't it? And now he must kneel down and apologize, and then he will spare him. The woman began to shout to him. What is he doing? Lin Fan pulled back Van Long's hand. Van Long approached him and asked him who he was. Who dares to talk to him like that? Lin Fan told him that he didn't need to know about it. Hearing this answer, Van Long laughed, and he said, okay, the game, dreamed of joking in front of him. He took the bottle and broke it, rushed to attack Lin Fan with his sharp eye, and said that now his life would become unbearable. Lin Fan was very annoyed. With one hand, he knocked the rest of the bottle out of Van Long's hands and broke it. Van Long was shocked and asked, what after that? Fragments of this bottle flew right into his face. He grabbed his face and began to scream that his face. One of the subordinates approached him. Fen Long was so angry that he told them to kill this kid. After that, his people immediately began to carry out his order. One of them said that Lin Fan was too arrogant, so let him get his kick. Mom sat down her daughter and closed her eyes. Father was very worried about Lin Fang and called out to him, but this man was unable to hurt him. As Lin Fang used his strength, he stopped him with one of his fingers. The man was horrified and asked how this was even possible. Lin Fang pushed him away with his palm and said that he was cleaning up, but the blow was so strong that the man flew off. Lin Fang exhaled and said that this was very reckless and ignorant. Zizhong was very happy and told Lin Fang that it was very good. The father of this girl also supported him and said that it was great. Just a great blow. Wan Long finally came to his senses and said that he dared to hit his subordinate in front of his eyes. Now he will kill him. Then from his bosom, he took out his pistol and pointed it straight at the line of the fan. Then he shot him. Lin Fan lost his vigilance for a moment, but still managed to dodge the bullet. Then he very quickly approached Van Long and grabbed him by the throat. Lang Long was horrified and asked, "How like this? Who the hell is he?" He had never heard of anyone being able to dodge a bullet. Lin Fang told him that no matter who he was, he only needed to know that he was nothing in his eyes. Then he began to squeeze his face. Van Long asked him to make it easier. Then he turned to the subordinates of this boss and told them to kneel down and start apologizing. Lin Fang told them to kneel down and apologize to them. Since these bandits were very much frightened, they immediately accepted the order and began to execute. They knelt down, and having bowed, they said to the floor to be forgiven. Lin Fang turned to Zizhou's father and said that if he gambled again, he might not be so lucky in the future. The man said it was goat, he would never gamble again. Lin Fang let go of Van Longo and told him to get out of here and that they never came here again. Otherwise they will lose their lives. Two guys picked up their boss and said they understood everything. The woman called out to Lin Fan and said that he was the benefactor of their family. It is a great happiness that Zizhou knows him. Lin Fang sighed and then said that he would go and they will take care of the rest. Zizhou looked after Lin Fan as he left and wondered who he was. Meanwhile, Chong and his friend were watching Zizhou. Chong said that even this woman dragged Lin Fang home. The guy said that if they hadn't followed them, they wouldn't have known, and suggested to my boss that if they do that, take advantage of the time when they are busy. They will break in and take a picture of Zizhou's connection, pressure her to be together with Chongo, and if she doesn't listen, then they distribute the photo throughout the medical university. Chong essay. Then they noticed how those two bandits were dragging their boss. One of them told the boss to slow down. Chong saw them and asked if it wasn't Brother Wang. One of them was very surprised and asked what he was doing here. Chong told Brother Long that he would not give him this beauty. This schoolgirl is an unusual creature, and she is guaranteed to be of better quality than those he has met before. And in the end, some kid appears and takes this girl. Wang Long was horrified and asked what he meant by that guy from the restaurant. Didn't he? That guy with the white hair, right? Chong was delighted and said that it was right. Yes, it was him. But then Brother Long hit Chong, so that he flew off into the road, and he began to shout that he did not know him, he had to get out of here. After that, those two, again, dragged their bosses. Chong got up and asked, what kind of medicine did he take? He's just crazy. The guy next to him approached him and worriedly told the boss that the situation was not good. Chong got angry and asked him, what the hell else? This guy pointed to Lin Fan and said that this guy is already here. He grabbed his boss and said that they needed to run faster. Lin Fan looked at them and said that they run very fast. Then his phone rang. Zi Ning called him. Lin Fan picked up the phone and asked him what happened. Ning's brother told him that, frankly, he had a friend who was suffering from a strange illness. Regardless of how the diagnosis is made by specialists at home and abroad, there is no improvement. Therefore, he very much hopes that Lin Fang can help him. Lin Fang asked what treatment, and he himself thought that he had never demonstrated the effect of his treatment. Why did he want to ask him for help? And he asked him, why? Why does he think that he has the opportunity to help him? Ning's brother said that Wei Wei told him that he has great magical powers. Doctors are helpless in front of an incurable disease, and only he can be able to cure. Lin Feng chuckled and thought that it turned out that Wei La wanted to test him, and she told Ning's brother that, in this case, He agrees and he can take him. Ning's brother said he was almost there. And a second later, indeed, brother Ning's car drove right up to Lin Fang. Lin Fang sat in the back seat of the car and told brother Ning to go. Ning's brother asked him if he needed to bring some tools with him. Lin Fang said that there was no need for that. 10 minutes later, Ning's brother has already brought Fana's reindeer to the right place. There were a lot of guards there. They were told they could come in. When they entered the room, Lin Fan looked a little tense and puzzled. The one who needed help was an old man, and he was completely chained to the bed. A man was sitting next to this old man. Ning's brother asked Lin Feng if he could tell what kind of disease it was. Lin Feng said it was a minor illness. Let him check it out. An elderly man asked Ning, where did he get this little, talkative child from? The man also jumped up and said, yes. Why is Bill's hair? Does the child say it's a minor illness? But Lin Fang did not listen to anyone. He only took a step forward. The man told him to stand still and not move, but Lin Fang ignored him. The man waved his hand and said that he had told him not to move. But Lin Fang once struck and told everyone to get out of here. He approached the patient and said that if he had come later, nothing would have helped. However, at the moment, the problem is not so great. Lin Fang waved his hand. He was about to do something. The old man told him to stop, but Lin Fang ignored everyone and did his job. After a while, Lin Fang exhaled an elderly man who was watching all this. He got scared and said that Mr. Kim was killed. Security heard this and asked, what? They immediately rushed into the room and took out their pistols and said that hands up. Ning's brother was also in a stupor. But then everyone heard the strings. Mr. Kim began to cough. Everyone immediately jumped up and was very surprised. The man who was hit by Lin Fang asked, how is this possible? Has Mr. Kim's heart rate returned to normal? Lin Fang sighed and told this man that he didn't seem to trust him much, so he should forget about it. This man has nothing to do with him, so he has no need to save him. But then this man reached for him and told him to stop and stayed here. Lin Fang turned around to look at him. The man said that he simply did not have eyes. He began to beg to save his father. But Lin Fang was offended and said that he had said that he did not want to do this. Then the man fell to his knees and begged him to save his father. He called Lin Fan a divine doctor and said that his Jin family was blind. He should not pay attention to all this. If the mysterious doctor blames anyone, let him blame him. He again begged him to save his father and said that he had absolutely no complaints. He kept on his knees and kept begging him to save his father. An elderly man with another man was very sick, surprised and thought that Kin Dasan knelt down, and now he is kneeling in front of him, asking him for help. Lin Fang looked at him carefully, then exhaled and told him to forget about it, now that they're all like that he cares about them, so now he has to get up. At that moment, another doctor whose name is Liang Gudeng rushed in and asked what happened to Mr. Kim. Seeing his men, he was delighted and said that at last he was here. He pointed to Lin Fang and told him to listen to him, because this guy who only knows how to joke, he almost killed Mr. Kim. Drive Guden carefully looked at Lin Fang, and this doctor fell on his knees in front of him and said that he had heard a lot about him, and he introduced himself. He squeezed his hand and said he was honored to see Mr. Lin here. The older man and the guy who was standing next to him were even more shocked. Lin Fang also remembered this man. The Guten doctor said that his name was Leon Guden, and while Lao Lao had already introduced them, Lin Feng said it was well Lao Lao. He rolled up his sleeves and said it was good. Now they need to save him, and he will be in the wings. At this point, Lin Fang stopped abruptly and said that their friends were very bad doctors, so they should all come out. After that, the guards themselves approached them and began to escort them out of the office. Lin Fang turned to Mr. Kim's son and told him to tell everyone else to leave. The man said it was good. Then he showed a sign to his guards, and the guard said that he understood him. After that, only Lin Fan, Dr. Gu Dengning's brother and Mr. Kim's son remained in the office. Lin Fang said that they need to start. He told the doctor to put pressure on 2 acupuncture points in the area of the liver. The doctor said that he was fine and did as Lin Fan said. Mr. Kim began to shake. The Guten doctor held him and told Mr. Lin that he didn't look very well and he can no longer hold his hand. Lin Fang called out to him not to be distracted and to press. After that, he himself, using his strength, hit Mr. Kim. Something strange began to happen to Mr. Kim. The doctor asked Lin Fang, "What is it?" Lin Fan said that it was an evil spirit that entered Mr. Kim's body. Mr. Kim's illness was also caused by this, and now that the evil spirit has settled, Mr. Kim should be fine. At that moment, Mr. Kim opened his eyes. He saw a frightened son in front of him who was very glad that his father had finally woken up. The son rushed to hug his father and told him that he was finally awake. It's just great. Mr. Kim looked at the gun doctor and asked that this divine doctor really saved him. But the doctor said, no, it was Lin who saved him, and he only helped and nothing more. And he pointed to Lin Fan. Mr. Kim shed a tear and began to call Lin Fan a benefactor. He began to thank him for saving his life. He will never forget about it, and if in the future he needs help, he will be happy to help him. Lin Fan said it was good. And I asked him how does he feel now? Mr. Kim said that he felt much better, only his back ached a little. Lin Fan told him that in any case, he lay too long, that's why it hurts. He must start moving, and then everything will pass. Mr. Kim turned to his son and told him to bring it to him. His son said it was good. Then he handed the card to Lin Fan and said that there was 1 billion on this card, he must take her. Ning's brother and the doctor were very surprised and asked what 1 billion was, but Lin Fan refused and said that there was no need. Money is useless to him. He only accepts healing herbs, jade, or magic tools. He should let him know if he finds out anything about these things. Mr. Kim asked what magic weapon. He addressed Lin Fan and said that he had previously been invited to participate in the spiritual artifact auction, but it had been postponed due to illness. Lin Fan said that the auction and asked him, from what exactly? Mr. Kim said he didn't know too much about it. However, he heard that it was organized by Fei Shui masters from the north. Their level is very high, and Yuan Dong Wan will also participate. Ning brother asked what Yuan Dong Hua was him. Lin Fan asked him who he was, to which he was told that, according to legend, this guy has true supernatural powers. He drives away thunder and lightning, which is alien to this world. This man is said to be a well-known feng shui master across the strait. He changed the fate of the great Li family. Lin Fan said that it was very interesting and asked Mr. Kim, when will the auction take place? Mr. Kim told him that he would find out when the time was right and then inform him immediately. Then he added, turning to the Tench, the Fen said that today he recovered from a serious illness, and this is a great joy. In honor of this, there will be a banquet at the Dynasty Hotel today, and he invites all his old friends and Lin Fan let his savior also come. Lin Fan was already standing at the exit and said that he could not because he still had some things to do, so he would go. Ning's brother bowed to Mr. Kim and said, so that he forgives them, because they also need to go. Mr. Kim said, okay, let them go. On the street, brother Ning once again thanked Lin Fan. He thanked him for his help. On another day, he will personally express gratitude by presenting him with his modest offering. Lin Fan said, no, he can go right now. Brother Ning bowed to him again and said that it was good. Lin Fan returned to his home. He went into the house and told his sister that he had returned. But then he saw his sister in a new beautiful dress. Zmei turned to him and said that he had finally arrived. Lin Fan thought that this girl had really grown up a lot. He stroked her head and said, yes, of course. And he asked her if she didn't want to eat what her brother had prepared for her. Now he is at home, and he will cook something for her right now. Zmei told him that he forgot something. Lin Fan was in a stupor and asked that he forgot something. Zmei said that she was going to a school party tonight. She had told him, had he already forgotten about it? Lin Fan confessed and said, yes, he completely forgot about it. Xiaomi suggested that he go with her, otherwise he would regret being left alone at home. Lin Fan was very touched and said, okay, he will go with her. Xiaomi was very happy and said that brother is the best. Meanwhile, a car was driving through the streets of the city, high speed. There were 3 people in the car, 2 boys and 1 girl. They had fun and laughed. The girl asked the guy who was driving that, when will they arrive at the Dynasty restaurant? To which he replied that she didn't have another classmate. Ling Zmei. Right, should they take her first? The girl told him that this is the girl who lives in the slums and asked why she should be there, to which the guy replied that they were still classmates. They should participate in activities together. And he himself thought that such a beautiful girl like her was an uncut gem. He wants to destroy it himself. Just then, they arrived at Lin Fan's house. The guy who was driving asked the girl that Lin Zmei who she said lives in such a place. The guy who was sitting next to him was very surprised. Huichin was also shocked and said that she had given her this address, but only it was a villa. At that moment, Lin Fan, with his sister, came out of the house, said that then they were leaving. Huichin told them to just watch it. After all, it was Ling Zmei, and next to her was her pathetic brother. The guy asked her, how did they get here? Because this is a villa, to which Zmei replied that this was her home. Did she and her brother move here? Hukin told her not to tell her that a few days ago, they lived in a slum town, and then suddenly won the lottery and could afford a villa. Xiaomi stuck out her tongue and told her that she didn't need to buy a lottery ticket because she had a brother. Then this guy said that it was good enough. The guy who was driving apologized to them and said that he was Ying Huakin's brother, and he asked them that they live here, right? As far as he knows, this villa is worth tens of millions. He is really jealous of them. And now they go to the hotel and ask that, where is their car? They can afford such a house, but not a car, right? Lin Fang smiled at him and asked what he said. That he was jealous of him, right? He does not have a car because he is very bored to drive sports cars. And he asked that, don't they have empty seats in the car? Hukin got angry and asked him if he couldn't see that she was sitting here. And in general, she does not believe that they live here because they just want to show off in front of them as rich snobs. A snob is a person who admires high society and carefully imitates its manner with taste. Lin Fang told her that if they behave like this, how can they go? The guy told Huichin not to cause problems, and turning to his brother and sister, he told them to sit down. After some time, they all arrived at the Dynasty Hotel. They parked and then got out of the car. Lin Fang thought that the hotel looked very splendid. Why didn't he know such a magnificent place before? Though they were met by security, he told Mr. Chen to come through. This Mr. Chen exchanged glances with his guards. Then he stopped Lin Fang with his sister and told them to wait. They are an upscale hotel. They must show their ID. Lin Fan pointed to the partner with the girl and said that they had come together. The guard went crazy and said that he was a follower of the young Master Chen. Lin Fang didn't know what to say and thought that this guy was making him feel ashamed. If only today wasn't an important day for Zmei. Then they were let in anyway. Inside this restaurant, Ling Fang saw a familiar face, and I was very surprised and thought that she's this Sisu. Then his sister called him and said that he was playing the fool here. We need to go faster. They approached the entrance to the luxurious VIP area. Mr. Cheng said they came. The curly-haired guy raised his glass and said that they were already waiting for them. The guy who was sitting next to him told them to sit down already. Then her friend called Zmei and told her to come here. It was her friend, Ja. She walked over to her friend and sat down next to her. Ja asked her that this was her brother, right? He is really very handsome. Lin Fan thanked her for the compliment. Huijin asked what is the use of beauty. Mr. Chen told her to watch her tongue. After which, we got up. I called everyone, said that he was raising a toast to everyone and thanked them all for taking care of his sister. Everyone supported but laziness, then looking into the glass laughed. Mr. Cheng asked him, what? Why is he laughing? Lin Fang said, okay, can't continue. Then Zmei called out to him and said that she couldn't drink. Huichin heard this and said that this was what she meant. Does she want to embarrass herself? Zmei turned around and told her that she had not yet said that she would not drink. Mr. Chen laughed and said that even though it was wine, it was actually just an ordinary drink. There's hardly any alcohol in here, so she can calm down. Lin Fang said to his sister that it's okay, she can drink it. And Lin Fang himself thought that this guy really, what were you thinking? Because there is a drug in this drink, it seems that this classmate party is not so simple. But it's a pity that these drugs don't work on him. He just has to wait, because he will definitely teach him a lesson. Then he drank all the wine himself, just like his sister. Seeing this, Mr. Cheng chuckled and said it worked. Meanwhile, outside, there was a group of guys walking towards them. One of them said that Brother Cheng is indeed their lucky star. There are about 10 little girls there, and they are all very beautiful. Another said that, especially this Lin Zmei, it would be very nice if he could make her his girlfriend. The fat guy also chuckled and told him not to hope, because Chen Yu's brother likes this girl. Meanwhile, in the room, Mr. Chen sold again, got up and said that they should all continue to drink. The guy with the curl said he couldn't take it anymore. Lin Fan told Zimi to wait and told her to pretend they were drunk and fell asleep. Zimi agreed with him. Then they began to act out their scenes. Lin Fan said he felt so dizzy, looks like he got drunk too. Zimi supported him. Man said that she drank too much. Then they both collapsed on the table. This is what Chen was trying to achieve. When he saw this picture, he smiled. His sister told him that this was the last time she would help him do such things. Chen told her to calm down already. After all, after completion, he will give her the appropriate prize. Hukan was overjoyed and thanked her brother. Then Chen clapped his hands, told them all to come in. Then the door opened and a whole group of bandits burst into this room. The bald guy said that he made them wait. Of course, Chen told them to look. They are all drunk, so now it's time to start. He looked at Xiaomi and laughed. He told her to let him take care of her. And then he reached out for her with his hands. But then he was grabbed by Lin Fan, who asked that, shouldn't he first ask his permission before touching his sister? He knew he wasn't that good, but he couldn't believe he'd taken such a step. It's not the first time for him, is it? Chen was confused and asked, why is he still okay? This is simply impossible. He saw with his own eyes how they all drank. Kier jumped up from Zimi, who told him that he was really terrible. She thought they were good friends, but she was wrong about them. Chen pulled his hand out of Lin Fang's PA and said that he had underestimated him. Even so, what can he do? Since he's not out, then he mocks his sister right in front of him. He laughed and said that he really wanted to see his expression. Lin Fan could hardly contain himself and said that he did not know what Lin Fang's expression would be, but he knew what his expression would be when death seemed the best outcome for him. Chen said, well, let him show it to him. After that, 3 of those guys immediately attacked Lin Fan. Lin Fan told his sister to close her eyes. Zimi said it was good. Zimi then obediently closed her eyes, and then Lin Fan took action. He gathered all his strength and said that you are really very presumptuous. The fat man told him that he was the only one who was presumptuous and one who was hit was the same fat man. You see this whole picture? Chen was horrified. He asked him, yes, who is he? But he couldn't say anything more, since Lin Fan had already reached him and kicked his leg between his legs. Chen fell to the floor and began to spin, screaming in pain. He said, how dare he beat him? Lin Fan stepped on him and said he didn't like to rape women. Then we'll make him a woman, and he will experience the same. Chen sobbed and said that he would not let him go because his father was Chen Daman. Hearing this lie, Fan was very surprised. Then apologizing, he said that he did not know him. Chen even passed out from the pain. After that, Lin Fan looked at Huiqing and asked, what about her? What should he do with her? Huiqing was very frightened and told him to wait a minute. She was simply forced to do it. It's all her brother. No, it was Chen Yulong that forced her. She begged him to let her follow him, because she could be his sister and do anything. Lin Fan said that she is very young and ruthless and has a limitless future ahead of her. He walked past her and said that it was a pity if he was a villain. He would take her under his wing. Then he hit her on the neck and Huiqing fell. Lin Fan pulled out his phone and called Ning and reported to him that he was now at the Dynasty Hotel and asked him to come here. Brother Ning asked what the Dynasty Hotel. Well, he will be soon. Lin Fan turned to his sister and told her that they had to go. Zimi grabbed his sleeve and asked why they are so bad. She treated them like friends. Lin Fan took her hand and told her that she should remember that there are good people and bad people. They must be naturally bad people. Xiaomi smiled and said that Big Brother was definitely a very good person back then. Lin Fan was surprised and asked if he was a good person. Then the 2 of them left the hotel. Then he saw Ziju again, who was leaving very quickly. He thought, what is wrong with her? Xiaomi asked him what happened. Lin Fan turned around and told her that it was no big deal for them to go. They will go home, and he will cook delicious food for her. Xiaomi was delighted and said it was great. A moment later, Ning's brother had already arrived at the Dynasty Hotel with his colleagues. They opened the door to this room and were very surprised by what they saw. They asked, what is it? What happened here anyway? The guy ran up to Chen and told Ning's brother that it looked like Chen Demon Son. Ning's brother asked, what is Chen Demon Son? Is he sure of it? To which he replied that he could not be wrong. This is really the son of Chen Demon. Ning's brother said that Lin Fan was really in big trouble this time. Then he told them to look after him, and he needed to talk to Wei Lao. He went into another room and called Wei Lao. Wei Lao very quickly picked up the phone and asked him, "What is it?" Hanning's brother said that Lin Fan might be in big trouble. He beat Chen Demon Sun, and he thinks that Chen Demon Sun had very serious injuries. While Lao Lao asked him what he had just said. Then he hung up the phone and put down his tea and told his brother that he had some business to go, so he would go. Had his granddaughter run away again? While Lao said no, because his granddaughter is not that kind of person. This is one of his friends whom he recently met. He is a very capable fellow, but this time he seems to be in big trouble. His brother asked, "What?" Another man, who was also present here, asked what else could be called trouble in front of them. Old people. Wei Lao said that he beat Cheng Damon's son. Here the two old men were horrified, whereupon Wei Lao told them that by now they must understand why he was so excited. One of these old men asked him, "What is the relationship between them? If they are not too close, then he should not take part in this." Wei Lao said that he had a fair share in this matter, and he himself thought that this time he was afraid that he would not be able to help Lin Fan. However, he wants to see how much luck and strength he has. Then they called him again. It was a call from Chen Demon. He immediately answered. Chen Demon asked if he already knew what happened to his son, and said he wants for a man named Lin Fan to be drowned at the bottom of the lake. He also really hopes that the old Wei will not interfere in this matter. While all said his tone, didn't he think it was too much? To which Chen Demon said that if he intervenes, then he should not blame him for his actions. Then he hung up. Wei Lao was shaking all over and he said he was fine. After which he screamed and asked that he really thinks that he can do whatever he wants. He may be strong, but he himself is not weak. Will he take care of this? One of the old men tried to calm him down, but Wei Lao was adamant. He said he would take care of the problem, and that's not to mention that he can't stand being so arrogant. One of the old men said that, if so, they would not persuade him, then the two of them will go first. After which they left. Wei Lao thought he didn't know if he could bear it. It's really mysterious. For the sake of this child, he is going to go against the Chain Demon. He really hopes he's right about Lin Fan. Meanwhile, in Chen Demon's office, he asked his guards what they were doing. After all, their only duty is to protect his son, so that's how they protect his son. The guard began to apologize to him and said that Mr. Yang told them not to follow him. He said there were things to do. Chen Deming interrupted him and told him to forget. They will talk about this later. They should tell him what condition he is in now. The guy told him that he was seriously injured. Nothing threatens his life, but he just may have problems with the functioning of the body later. Chen Deming stood up and lit a cigarette and said that at least there are cultivation methods that had been passed down through their family. He will surely recover later. Then he turned around and said that today, he wants to see Lin Fan kneeling before him and asked if they could do it. Both guys said they understood. Chen Deming told them to leave when he was left alone and thought, what a useless moron his son is. If he were as capable as his brother, would he then be worried? Just then, one of his sons entered the office. It was QA asked if the younger brother had gotten himself into trouble again. Chen Deming said that some people dared to offend his brother. Sai asked, what and who is it? The father told him that he had already sent people to deal with it. He does not need to worry about this because he called him on a completely different matter. The son asked him what kind of blanket. Father said something about him, and Wei's granddaughter had failed. Sai fell into a stupor and asked what failed. How did it happen? The father said that the man who knocked down his brother was Lin Fan, and this Wei seems determined to protect him. They are not even afraid to go against their Chen family. Tai told his father that this is simply impossible. This Wei did not just reach this place where he is now. He's not that ignorant. Knowing the influence of the Chen family, does he still dare to fight? Let only his father not tell him that there are big people behind Lin Fan. The father jumped up and asked his son, what does he really want to say that there is someone else more powerful than their Chen family? But what he said also makes sense. Wei Lao for over 70 years, and he definitely won't be as impulsive as younger people. Is this Lin Fan really that capable? Che said that Lin Fan surnamed Lin, and he said that perhaps. But his father interrupted him and asked that he really wanted to say that he was a member of the family of an ancient family of Lin martial arts masters. Sai said, yes, if he really belongs to this family, then the old Wei will hesitate to defend him and even march against them. Chen Deming said that there had been no news from this ancient family of martial artists for more than 10 years. Sai told his father to provide the case. He himself will take care of this investigation. Father said, okay, he just had to listen to him. Even if he was a descendant of an ancient Lin family, he would not allow them to be insulted and ask your son, what level is he now? Sai told his father to be calm because he had already reached the top of the Neijing, and the master told him that Che is just a genius of martial arts that appear once in 1,000 years. If nothing happened, after 3 years, he would be able to achieve legendary Che cultivation. The father laughed and said that it was very good. If he really achieves Che cultivation, then he will become famous, and their Chen family will become one in this place. He put his hand on his son's shoulder, told him to take care of his brother's business. He should carefully inquire whether Lin Fan has anything like that from the past, then he should immediately bring him here. He wants him to die in front of his brother. Sai said it was good. The father said he was handing over the matter to him, now let him go. After that, Sai left his father's office and thinking, said that he was a Lin Fan. He is very interested. Who is he? Meanwhile at Lin Fang's house, Zimai has already gone to bed. Lin Fang checked it and then his phone rang. He picked up the phone and realized that the old man was calling him. He picked up the phone and asked what happened. Wei Lao asked him if he was free, and I need to talk now. Lin Fang said he was free. Wei Lao said it was fine, then he would send a car to pick him up. After a while, Ning's brother drove up to Lin Fang's house and told him to get in the car. He told him in the car that he was in big trouble this time. This Chen Daman is not worth messing with. Lin Fang asked, what is wrong with that? Moreover, he arranged all this himself, so it's his fault. Ning's brother told him that he was too optimistic. After some time, they finally arrived at the Lao Wei's house. Ning's brother told Lin Fang to come in without him. Lin Fang said he was fine, and thanked him for giving him a lift. Then he came to Lao Wei's room. As Lin Fang walked towards him, old man, Wei thought that he should discuss in detail with Lin Fang and their next steps. Just then, Lin Fang came to him and said that he had come. Old Wei told him to sit down. Then he asked him if he knew whom he offended. Lin Fang asked him, what is the one who should not be messed with, right? Old Wei agreed with him and said that it was Chen Diming. He is the biggest business tycoon in Shanghai and also the fifth part of the economic activity. Their cities are under the control of the Chen family. Lin Fang said he was so cool. Old Wei said that it was all nonsense, because the worst thing is their legacy and their elders. Lin Fang asked me to elaborate on this. Old Wei said that the ancestor of the Chen family fought in the war 70 years ago. It's just participation, but he himself knows that this is war and that it means something. And since then, the Chen family has been cultivating. Sai then asked him if he knew what he meant. He must be just practicing kung fu now, is not it? Lin Fang said, shall we say so? And he himself thought that he was practicing. If he tells him that he is immortal, then he will die of fear on the spot. Old Wei said that for more than 70 years, the Chen family has gained rich experience in QI cultivation, and Chen Diming himself is a master of inner strength. A little more in this whole family will already reach the stage of Che practice. And besides, there are rumors that the elder of the Chen fam, Lin Fang asked what Sai cultivation was. It's a bit interesting. Old Wei told him that he was dismissive of this and says he's a little curious. Does he even know what Sai culti information means? This means that conventional weapons are almost useless against them. They can kill anyone they want at any time. For them, there is no difference between the lives of. Lin Fang said, yes, he is sure. The old man Wei could not stand it and hit the table with his fists. Asked him if he even understood what he meant. Lin Fang extended his hand and asked him if he had a weapon. Old Wei was surprised and asked what weapon. Lin Fang said yes, and asked to borrow it. Old Wei said there was, but he took a gun out of his sleeve and said that. He said that any weapon against them was useless, not to mention this thing that he is holding in his hands. But then he noticed that the gun in his hands had disappeared. This pistol was already in the hands of Lin Fan. He twisted it in his hands and said that, yes, this is a real pistol. Old Wei asked him what he was doing. Lin Fang put a cannon to his head and told him not to worry and watch carefully what he was doing. Old Wei got scared and asked what he was going to do. He must stop immediately. Then Lin Fang pulled the trigger. Starkov Wei closed his eyes, but when he opened his eyes, he saw that Lin Fang caught the bullet with 2 fingers. He was very surprised and asked that he really caught the bullet with his bare hands. Lin Fan put the gun on the table and told him if he had seen everything, so it's no need to worrying about it, but he has one more thing to do with him. Old man, Wei asked. What's the matter? And he himself thought, who the hell is this child? Only a strong Psi practitioner can ignore firearms. Is it possible that this child is indeed a descendant of the Ning clan? Lin Fan said that he also has a younger sister, and he really hopes that they can protect her too. Anyway, his current cultivation is not good enough, and he is very afraid that he will not be able to protect it. Old man, Wei was even more surprised and asked, what is not good enough? And he calls it not good enough. Old Wei told him that he knew from the very beginning that he was an unusual person. However, he did not expect him to be a master of energy training. So don't let him worrying about his sister, he will protect her no matter what. Lin Fan thanked him. Then a girl burst into them and told her grandfather that she was so angry. Should he explain everything to her? It was Wei Ling. She entered the room and saw Lin Fan and asked her grandfather if he had guests. Her grandfather got very angry and told her to stop behaving like that, especially in front of a distinguished guest. Wei Ling said that. How could she know that he had guests now? Old Wei turned to Lin Fan and said that it was his granddaughter. Lin Fan said that, in any case, like-mindedness is also a good quality, right? Hearing this, Wei Ling got angry and asked what he said. Where is his manners? Old Wei also rebelled and told his granddaughter, how dare she speak to him in that tone? Then grabbed her by the hair. Wei Ling asked Grandpa what he was doing. Lin Fan laughed and told Old Man Wei that his granddaughter was very interesting. Old Wei said that it was all because of him, because After which he told his granddaughter that he had things to do, he would talk to her later. The Wei Ling was not going to back down, and said, no, he should explain everything to her today. And she asked him, Wei why did he arrange a blind date for her? Old Wei was angry and said that he said they would talk about it later. Wei Ling pouted. Lin Fan's phone rang. It was an unknown number, so he decided to drop it. In fact, it was Chet who called him, realizing that he had dropped his call. He asked, what did he drop? And Lin Fan got another call, but this time, he picked up the phone and asked, who is it? Sai asked, what is Lin Fan right? And he said that his name is Chen Chet. Lin Fan tensed up and thought, Chen Chet. He looked at the granddaughter of the old man in the right and thought that really. Then he decided to put the call on the speakerphone. Lin Fan asked him what he needed. Sai said that he needed to talk to him about something, and he asked him, what? How dared he beat his brother like that? Wei Ling heard a familiar voice and went to the phone and asked, what is this Chen Chet? Chet was surprised and asked if it was Ling, and I thought, why are Lin and Lin Fan together? Lin Fan smirked and thought, just as he expected. Then he said, what Chen Ilan means his brother? Well, that one. Since he was quite lenient towards him, Che asked him that he did this knowing who their family is. He will be waiting for him today, in the private room of the Dynasty Hotel. After that, the call was completed. Lin Fan turned to Lao Wei and said that he had heard everything. He will ask him to do what he asked him just now. Then Wei Ling screamed and asked, what the hell is going on here? Old man. Wei said it was none of her business. And turning to Lin Fan, he said that he would go with him. Lin Fan said that it was not worth it. He would deal with it himself. And he asked the old man to just protect his sister. He'd better take her now. Old man. Wei said, okay, he did it right now. Wei Ling carefully. Keela, look at Lin Fan's and because who is he and why is grandfather so polite to him? And how does he know Chen Qia? It won't work. She has to find out everything. Lin Fan got up and told Old Man Wei that he would go one. Old Man Wei said it was go and let him take care of himself. After that, Lin Fan left. Wei Ling told her grandfather that she had to go too. The old man sighed and said that this girl. But then a very good idea came to him. He thought, wait a minute, Lin Fan is lonely. If he takes him off Ling, then he chuckled and thought that it would definitely be very good if his son-in-law was a descendant of the Lin family. Yes, he must arrange all this. Meanwhile, his granddaughter called someone and told her to get all the information about a person named Lin Fan. She must find out what he is hiding from her. Meanwhile, there's a dynasty in the hotel. Sai was still waiting for Lin Fan. Behind him was his bodyguard. Qi asked why he still hasn't come. Usually always, Others were waiting for him. Has he completely lost his mind? But that Lin Fan had already arrived. He sat down silently. Then he put his hand in his bosom, wanted to get something. Lin Fan asked him, "What is it?" Has he swallowed his tongue? Che thought, how dare he? After which, he took a deep breath and said that they first needed to talk about his brother. He beat him. Why does he know that his brother is his dearest friend and relative? Lin Fan asked, what does he have to pay for this? Sai was already getting angry and asked, what to pay? Can he afford such a sum? He found out all about him, and he is a poor child, but he wonders he is just a poor child, but he will boldly hit his precious brother, and that is why he must have accidentally received some kind of cultivation. And I asked him what he really thinks, that with some degree of cultivation, he can do anything that comes into his head. He must know that there are people who are stronger than him. After that, he decided to demonstrate his strength and broke the table. He hit the table and told him to listen carefully. In his eyes, he is just an insect. Lin Fan said he was so scared. Sai let him go and said that if he joins his Chen family, he will forgive him, despite the fact that he beat his brother. Lin Fan asked, is it really true? Sai said exactly what? Lin Fan said that this is a very interesting proposal, and now they need to talk about Miss Lin. Che asked what kind of relationship he has with her. Wei Ling is actually his woman. Lin Fan introduced a small child and said that, but she is his mother. Che got very angry and asked what he said. Lin Fan said that love affairs are beyond anyone's control. When his son is born, he can come to the birth party. Sai was so angry that the floor was already cracking under him, and with his fist, he destroyed the table, after which he lit a cigarette and said that he recognized that he really pissed him off. However, he will not fall for it. After all, he only says this to provoke him. Lin Fan said that he is not so stupid and stronger than his brother. He invited him to join his family, and he agrees. However, he has conditions. Sai asked what Lin Fan said that he wanted his family to bow down to him and acknowledge that he was their master. Here the bodyguard could not stand it anymore and told him that he had just gone crazy. Lin Fan told him to think about it. Sai asked him what it means. If he does not agree, then there is nothing to say, right? Lin Fan said that, yes, if he agreed to his terms, then they could discuss everything further. The bodyguard became completely angry and clenched his hand into a fist, rushed at Lin Fan and told him that, yes, how dare he? Kyle chuckled and thought that his bodyguard was a master of profound strength. It will take a lot of effort to neutralize his blow. He really wants to see what Lin Fan is capable of. But Lin Fan neutralized this bodyguard with one click. He didn't even touch him, and he flew off into the wall. After that, Lin Fan said that he was weak. QI was very dumbfounded and asked him what he did. Lin Fan said that he thought his family was the great cultivation family. However, he did not expect them to be so weak. Sai looked at his bodyguard, who was unconscious, and laughed. He got up and said, it was great, that's just fine. He really is a descendant of the Lin family. He is such a cultivation. He is definitely a difficult person. Lin Fan did not understand him at all and asked what. Chet bowed to him and said that, since he is a Lin descendant, he wants to apologize for his rudeness. Let him accept his apology. He really hopes that this will not affect their relationship. Lin Fan thought that this guy had changed his attitude towards him so quickly. This guy is very smart. He should not underestimate him. But what is this Lin family? Why had he never heard of them? Is it really the secret cultivators in China? If so, then he would pretend to be a descendant of the L. He then said that it was true that he was a descendant of the Lin family. Sai thought that it was just fine if he enlisted the support of the Laziness clan. Then after which, he ended the papers to Lin Fan and said that this was a small sign of his gratitude. He knows that this is not what he would want as a practitioner, but this is what he will need. In addition, this jade was given to him by his master, so he will also give it to Mr. Lin. Lin Fan said that he was a bit of a seductive talent, but he didn't need it all. Sai said it was his compensation. He should just accept it. However, he is something else. Lin Fan asked, what? Sai said that he really hoped it would help him kill someone. Lin Fan asked, who? Sai said that Law Wei. Lin Fan got angry and asked what way. Chet told him that they were both cultivators, and he certainly knew very well how important this jade was in this era-depleted aura. If he helps him, then he will give him 30 jades for his practice, and he will also provide him with all the necessary things for practice. For the future, he will enlist. Lin Fan asked him, why don't they do it themselves? Is it so difficult for them to kill a Law Wei? Che said it wasn't like that, it's just that the people behind Law Wei are problematic enough. However, to the Lord of the Line, no matter how powerful he may be, he is just an insect. Lin Fan said that this was true, but nevertheless, he got up and threateningly looking at the case said that his family was also ordinary insects for him. Che couldn't say a word. Lin Fan was very angry and asked him who he was and how dare he ask him for such a thing. Sai told him that he really hoped that he would think carefully about his offer. Lin Fan told him that he had said that his family was also Chen. Does he really think that he will cooperate with some flock of flies? Sai stood in front of Lin Fan and told him that they were nothing to him just because he was a descendant of the Lin family. However, his family is very great. His master is also a cultivator. To be honest, he is not inferior even to him, so he should think it over again. Lin Feng didn't say anything to him. Sai said that he thought he had nothing more to say to him. Since they will not cooperate, they must settle the score. He beat his brother, then what will they do? Lin Fang said that this garbage, he didn't kill him, but he deserved it. Sai began to scream that he was still a member of his family. Will he just leave it like that? Lin Fang was still very calm, and asked him what he could do with him. Sai agreed with him and said that it was true that they could not do anything, but you can still deal with his friends. Even if he has high cultivation, he won't be able to defend all the time, right? It's the same with Law Wei. He should better tell his friends to stay at home and keep a low profile. Lin Feng was very angry and immediately thought about Zikijo. Che laughed and told him that he had to be very careful. Lin Feng still lost his temper and grabbed his throat. He picked it up. I told him to let him go. Lin Feng said that he hates people. He told him that his family was nothing in his eyes. He must not test his patience, otherwise he will kill him. He threw it away and told him to get out. But Sai did not fall. He managed to stop himself and maintain his balance. Che could hardly stand on his feet and said that all vital organs were affected. What is this terrible power? Lin Fang told him that he advised not to touch his friends, otherwise he would destroy his entire Chen family. After that, Lin Fang left. Sai immediately called his father and said that Lin Fang was not a descendant of the Lin family. Father, he was told that if he is not theirs, because who can they calm down and he can do whatever he wants with it. However, how could he know that he was not a descendant of the Lin family? Sai said that the master once told him something about the Lin family. First, one of the features is that they all have a special tattoo on their arm. However, the Lin Feng does not have it. Blindly, he found out everything about Lin Fang. He lived and grew up in the magical capital, and his paw. The father said that it was good. If this was so, then he should do with him whatever he wanted. Kaif said it was good. Then he got up and said that Lin Fang would continue to lie to him further for nothing. He's not a descendant of the Lin family, so he shouldn't blame him. After that, he contacted his man. He asked him, how are things going? The bald man said, everything was fine. Has he tied her up yet? Zissou was with them. She laughed out loud and said that this is a great job. He should wait for it. Then he hung up and said that he wanted Lin Fan to watch his girlfriend suffer and how she dies in agony. But Lin Fan, it turns out, had not left yet. He stood behind him and asked, what is it like? I was very surprised and asked how he got in. Lin Fang said that, of course, he got rid of the guards. These people are so dumb, and now it's his turn. Sai chuckled and asked, what was his turn? He took off his jacket and said, he seemed to underestimate him. Does he think he can beat him? After all, he had not yet seen his true power, and now that he's back, he'll dislocate his limbs and then torture his little girlfriend. Lin Feng said that not bad. His cultivation is strong enough. She said that without further ado, he will let him know. After that, he instantly moved behind him and finished the sentence, saying that who is the best here. Lin Fang was really very surprised and said that it was too fast. Sai dug his claws into his shoulders and squeezed hard and said he'd tear it up. Lin Fang said it was good if, of course, he can. Then he threw it away and said that he was no worse than him. Chet took off, but he got up again and said that they had not finished yet. He rushed to him with all his might and said that he would destroy his meridians. Lin Fang bent over so that they both hit their heads. She was bleeding. Lin Fang told him to continue. Sai called out to him not to underestimate him. Then he waved his He was about to hit him, but Lin Fan got ahead of him and hit his head with his foot and then punched him in the face. Sai was barely moving. He couldn't even get up anymore. And called Lin Fang and said that he had destroyed his danshan. Lin Fang said, "That's right." Lin Fang walked closer to him, said that it was true that there was always someone better than him. However, it is a pity that he does not understand this, that this someone is him. He is someone who likes to get things done, which is why he should excuse him. Sai got scared and shouted at him to stop. He can't do it, otherwise, his girlfriend will die. He doesn't even know where she is. Lin Fang asked what he said. Sai said that if he wants to save her, then he must listen to him. But then he felt intense pain. Lin Fang stepped between his legs and he said he couldn't stand being threatened as members of the same family. They received the same. Che asked him if this girl's life really didn't matter to him. Lin Fang sat down next to him and asked if he knew that there was a technique called soul search. Sai asked, "What is soul searching?" Lin Fang said, "That's right. Searching for a soul is also searching for another soul directly through his soul, and he can find out whatever he wants." He grabbed him by the hair and said that, "So what does he think? Does he need him alive?" Qa was shaking all over and he laughed out loud. Lin Fang told him to speak. Kia chuckled and asked him what he thought he has reached the level where he is now. It's because he's smarter. He would tell him where his girlfriend is, but he doesn't know it himself. Lin Fan got angry and asked, "What did he just say?" Sai laughed even harder and said that he already foresaw that he was using some kind of trick. Did he almost kill him? He promises that within that hour, his girlfriend will die, and tomorrow, photos and videos of her torture will be distributed. Lin Fang clenched his hand into a fist, and he thought that although he might be deceiving him, he could not confidently say that this was so. Then he told him to tell him what he wanted. Sai laughed and said that now he had it in his hands and he has 3 wishes. 1. It is he who must heal all his wounds. 2. He must teach him his practice skills. And 3. He wants him to work for the family for 3 years. Lin Fang was really very angry and thought that this bastard. Che asked him, what will he advises him to agree as soon as possible. Lin Fang told him that he really annoyed him a lot. Che laughed and asked what happened and what will he do. Lin Fan said that he hates 2 things. 1 is when his loved ones are threatened, and 2 is when they threaten him. Che asked him that, after all this nonsense, why didn't he just do what he was told? Lin Fang thought that he had a couple of ways to control the human soul, however, he would not be able to use them with his current practice. It seems that he can only ask for help from the law way. Che told him that there was only one way left for him, and it will agree to its terms. And while Che was saying all this, Lin Fan was recruiting Law Wei behind his back, and I asked him that there was only one way left, wasn't it? Sai asked him, what else can he do? Lin Fang said that he could heal his wounds, however, he would not agree to the other 2 conditions. Sai said that all 3, and no less, he simply has no choice. While they were talking, Lin Feng wrote Law Weio's message in which said he was in a predicament. He should help him find Yazi soon as possible, and he thought that now he needs to buy time, and he really hopes that Law Wei will find this place. Meanwhile, at the Law Wei's house, he received his message, after which he shouted that everyone was here. All his people came, and they said they were listening to him. Law Wei said that they should find the location of this girl. All his people accepted the order, after which they ran to fulfill it. Lin Fang said it was good. He agrees to his terms. Che said it was great. This is the right decision, and now he must cure it. Lin Fang clicked, and he sat down behind Che and began to treat him. Qi was very surprised and thought that the unpaired meridians in 8 veins are recovering so quickly. He asked him, where did he learn this from? Lin Fang told him that it was just a drop in the ocean and nothing more, and now he must remain silent. After some time, he finally healed him and said that all his wounds were healed. Che got up and Lin Fan told him that he needed to heal a little more. Che said it was just amazing. Lin Fang tensed up and thought that a very long time had already passed. Why is there no news? Meanwhile, on the street Law Wei, people search everywhere for this girl. One of them said that they should find this girl as soon as possible. Meanwhile, in an abandoned building, Ning's brother said that there are too many people here. It's like looking for a needle in a haystack. But then he heard a sound. He immediately perked up. He gestured for the other 2 and said that everyone should follow him. Then they crept up to the door, and he motioned for them to stop. And he himself clung to the door and thought that he needed to listen carefully again. And he heard that sound again inside this building. She was connected with Zisu, and on the couch lay that bald man. He told his men that there. The man was then awakened by a loud sound. These three guys had already burst in, and raising their guns, told him to raise his hands. But this man managed to grab his sword and told them not to move, otherwise he would kill this girl. Ning's brother chuckled and asked what he thought would be faster, his knife or his gun. The man yelled at him to shut up and not move. Ning's brother yelled at him to put down his knife. This man did not intend to do what he was told, and told them what they had forced him to do. Then they shot at him. The bullet hit him right in the arm. The man fell and screamed in pain. Ning's brother, who fired, said he overestimated himself. Then he ordered his people to take care of him. Then they tied the man up. Ning's brother approached Zijuan and tied her, asking if she was okay. Ziju said yes and thanked him. Ning's brother smiled at her and said it was great. Meanwhile in the VIP room, she told Lin Fan that, thanks to him, he quickly recovered. At this Lin Fan's phone vibrated. Did he think he called? Meanwhile, Sai turned to him and told him to teach him all the methods he knew now. But Lin Fan just chuckled. Sai pricked up his ears and asked, why is he laughing? Lin Fan told him that he admits that he is strong, however, he still surpasses him. Che asked him what he wants to do. Is the life of that girl really not important to him? Lin Fan showed him his phone and told him to look for himself. Che was speechless from what he saw after that. The lymphangitis again grabbed him by the throat and pressing him against the wall. Said that he thought that everything would go smoothly, but it was a pity that he was so unlucky. It's all his fault. He shouldn't blame him for what he's about to do. Sai was very scared, said no. After that, Lin Fan broke his neck and threw away the body of the Kaya. After that, Lin Fan said that it seems that he needs to destroy this Chen family. Otherwise, it is not clear what will happen in the future. With that, he called Ning's brother. Ning's brother told him that she was fine, so he didn't have to worry. Lin Fan said he was fine and thanked him. But then we felt something, and turning around, I saw that from the village of Qa began to burn, he said. That's how. Lin Fan stood by his body and said that. And he was cunning. He found a substitute for himself. He used less than 10% of his strength. He only got his hands dirty. After that, he turning to the Chen family, told them to remember, because one day he will destroy their entire family. Meanwhile, at the Chen family's villa, Che sat in the room and clicked, saying that he was at the peak of his inner strength. However, he could not even block Lin Fan's blows. It seems that his master should take up this matter. He used magic, and then his master appeared. Sai bowed to his master. The teacher asked him that he was looking for him for the sake of a person named Lin Fan, right? Che was very surprised and asked how he knew. The teacher asked, what did he think he could hide it from him? Che told his master that he was truly amazing. The master said that, judging by his appearance, it can be said that he lost to Lin Fan. Lin Fan really was an unusual person to make him so nervous once. Che said that he suspected that Lin Fan might be a descendant of the Lin family, but the master laughed and said she was wrong. After all, Lin Fan is not a descendant of the Lin family. Sai asked him, why? Why is he so sure of this? The master told him that he wanted to introduce him to him. A man appeared behind him, and the master told the student that this is the true descendant of the Lin family, and plant is Lin Yangqie. Lin Yangqie said that is correct. He is a true descendant of the Lin family. Qi thought that he had a mark on his hand. He was definitely a descendant of the Lin family. The master told him that he and Lin Yangqie would come to the magic capital today, and until then, he should not act rashly, and when he arrives, they will discuss everything. Sai bowed to his master again and said, yes. Then his master disappeared. Sai laughed and said that the master and Lin Yangqie personally took on Lin Fan. Even if he was stronger, he would still not be able to resist them. Meanwhile, Lin Fan arrived at Brother Ning. Ning's brother told him that Miss Su had been waiting for him for a very long time. Lin Fan was very worried and asked if she was okay. Zisu ran out and hugged him. Lin Fan hugged her back and apologized to her for being late and told her that everything was fine now. Zi Cheju wiped her tears and said she was fine. Lin Feng said that he had made a great offer to take her home. The girl agreed. Lin Fan looked at Brother Ning and thanked him for his help. Ning's brother said it was his job. Lin Fan took off his jacket and covered Zi Cheju with it, and he told Ning's brother that he would walk her home. Ning's brother said, "Fine, but let them be careful along the way." In the car, Ziju told him that she always wanted to talk to him about something. She asked him that he was not an ordinary person, was he? Ever since he came to school, amazing things have been happening there. That in the past, that the kidnapping is now, but even so, he always comes to her when she needs it, and thanked him for it. Lin Fan said that she was stupid and said that no matter what happens, he will always be there because he is her. Ziju blushed and said that was what he was saying. Lin Fan told her to be careful. It's already night. Meanwhile, at Lin Fan's villa, he finally came home and laying down in his bed, said that he was so tired. Then someone called him. Chin teacher called him. He picked up the phone and asked her, what really happened? Why is she calling him so late? Chin teacher asked him if he was free tomorrow. Lin Fan looked worried and said that he was listening to her. Chin teacher told him that it would be better to talk tomorrow. Lin Fan said, "Fine, see you tomorrow then." The teacher Chin said that it was good. Then tomorrow at lunch at the mall building. Then their conversation ended. Lin Fan lay down on his bed again and said that he was so tired he needed to sleep. The next day, at the mall, Lin Fan was already waiting for teacher Chin. He sighed and said that the woman was what they said that at lunchtime, but an hour and a half had already passed and she was still gone, so it's still very hot. That Chin teacher drove up in a car. She ran out of the car and apologizing to him, said that there were terrible traffic jams on the roads, and asked how long he had been waiting for her. Lin Fan said, no, he had just arrived. Chin teacher said it was great. Lin Fan asked her how he could help her. Teacher Chin was embarrassed and said that you are actually not such a big deal. It's just Lin Fan looked at her and thought, what the hell is going on here? Just then, a car drove up to them, and he stopped next to them. A short and fat and bald man got out of the car. He told the Chin teacher that she was here. She is even more beautiful than in the photo. He approached her and greeted her. The teacher, appreciative, bowed and said that they had better come in first. The man laughed and said, it was good. Miss Chin is so shy. He looked at Lin Fan and asked, by the way, who is this person? The teacher appreciates, said that this is her student. The man smiled and said, what does Miss Chin mean? They have a teacher. That's great. The man walked ahead and said, okay, they have to go. Laziness Fan whispered to the Chin teacher, what was going on here? Chin teacher said it was a blind date arranged by her family. Lin Fan carefully looked at this man and said sarcastically, at the quality of, shall we say, this man is very high Rolex and a luxury car in $1 million. The Chin teacher told him that she called him maimed so that he could help her get rid of him. He was introduced to her by a very good aunt, and she could not tell her no, otherwise her aunt would also be embarrassed. Lin Fan said it was good. Then they all went inside the mall. The man told the teacher the target to choose anything. He put his hand on her hip and told her to go, better come here. The Lin Fan abruptly approached him and asked what his hobby was. President Bath got angry and said he was a damn kid. Then he turned to the Shinya teacher, told her that a new store called Hermes had recently opened. He takes her there. President Wang reviewed this store. He said that he is here. President Wang told her that it was better to go now. Teacher Ken was very tense. Lin Fan told her to relax and go. After some time, they went inside this store. There they were greeted by a woman. She said, welcome. A woman turned to President Wang and told him that they were very glad that he visited them again. Lin Fan told Miss Chin that this fat man seems to be a frequent customer. Then this woman saw Miss Chin and said that this is a young lady. She approached her and called her daughter-in-law and said that she was welcome. Miss King was embarrassed and said, no, this is their first meeting with him. The man laughed and said that Miss Kin is such a cutie. Great, he's in a good mood today, so let them bring all the most expensive bags. The woman's eyes lit up, and she told them to wait a minute. President Wang looked around to look at Miss Chin, thought, well, Miss Kin surprised that Lin Fan closed his own eyes, and Master Kin closed her eyes, telling her to take care of her eyes. The bags just arrived. President Wang asked her, what? How about this? Let Miss Chin look at the most expensive bag first, and then she will look at the rest and just choose what she likes. Lin Fan looked at the bags and said that he was very kind, and he asked that he could choose any, right? President Wang said that, of course, because he is a student of Miss Chin, so let him take any. Lin Fan asked, what is it like? And he'll take this one, and this one. He began to rush around the store and said that this was also not bad. After which he exhaled and said that these few put all the bags on the table. President Wang thought this asshole wanted to humiliate him. All this will cost more than $1 million. Lin Fan said that he had already chosen. The woman was surprised, and when she turned to the President Wang said, "What is it?" But President Wang remained calm for now and told her to pack it all up. The woman said, "It was good." But then Lin Fan stopped her. President Wang asked, "Isn't that enough?" Lin Fan approached him and said that he thought he already understood. He meant that he wanted everything in this store except these. President Wang said he was an asshole. After that, he could not stand it. Began to shout that he should not be like that. What is he counting on? Lin Fan asked, "What, isn't Mr. Wang rich? Can't he afford it? If he cannot afford it, then there is no need to pretend to be rich, otherwise he will be dishonored." President Wang grabbed his shirt and said, "It was nonsense. Is he pretending his annual income is several million? He can't even imagine it." He turned to Miss Price, said that her student is very arrogant. Miss Chin stood up for her student and said that Lin Fan was still her student. He should be more polite with him. Lin Fan told her that everything was fine. Even if Mr. Wang can't afford it, it's okay. President Wang let him go and said that it was all for Miss Chin. He would close his eyes to it. Then he laughed and told Miss Chin not to think about him. She should watch it for herself and choose what she likes. After all, it will be a gift from him. Miss Chin said, no, she couldn't accept his gift. President Wang asked what she said. Is she playing with him? President Wang asked her if she was serious. There is no woman who does not like bags. Miss Chin asked him to calm down. Then President Wang got angry and took out a bag and told them to pack it. The woman immediately took this bag and said that it was good. But Miss Chin stood her ground and said, no, she couldn't accept it. This is how he insults her. He may have to deal with a woman who appreciates money, but she is not at all such a person. But Chu Wan asked her what it was. She lulled his vigilance. Didn't she wants to flay 3 skins, right? She just has to say what she needs, and he will give it to her right away. Hearing this, Miss Chin got angry and pulled Lin Fan behind her and said they were leaving. President Wang called out that it was good to let them go. You don't have to be so noble if she wants to leave. Hearing this line, Fan got angry and turning to the President Wang asked him what he said. He should say it again, if he has the courage. President Wang said that, and he will say, is this nobility necessary, and everything is clear? Here anyway, he's not blind, and he sees everything clearly. He's not even her student, he's her boyfriend. Isn't he this? Chin got angry and shouted that it was nonsense, but Lin Fan stood in front of her and made it clear that there was no need to do anything. After which he told her to let him deal with it. He asked President Wang that he really thought he could do whatever he wanted with a few stinky dollars. President Wang said, What? What is true? What can he do? Lin Fan calmly replied that, I understand, so the main one is the one with the money, right? President Wang said that, of course, because money is everything. Lin Fan said that was understandable. Then he picked up the bag and said that he buys everything that is in this store, and told them to pack it all. President Wang heard this and laughed. He asked him, is that all? It's all worth tens of millions. Can he afford it? Does he have money? He doesn't have enough money, even if he sells his body. The woman said that the current children say she got into anger. Well, if he can afford it, then she will jump off the roof. Lin Fan chuckled and said, those were her words. He pulled out a card and told them to count everything. The woman was surprised and asked if he was sure that he had enough money. Lin Fan told her to count because he would not repeat. The woman's hands were trembling, but she accepted the card. She told him to wait. She would call the manager now. Miss Chin told him that he was crazy. How did he get such money? Lin Fan told her, so that she does not worry, because he is not the same as he was before. President Wang was also shaking all over. He thought, no, it couldn't be. It's just not possible. The manager came running with a Lin Fan card. Lin Fan asked him if he was a manager. And how does he know it? The manager caught his breath and said to Mr. Lin that you are welcome and apologized for not coming out to greet him. This shop is owned by Y. They have heard of it. Lin Feng said that's how. President Wang was very angry and asked John Kale, why didn't he even greet him? Has he forgotten how he helped him? John Kale looked at him and said, it was him. He heard that he provoked Master Lin, didn't he? From today, All stores in this city will stop working with him so he can leave. President Won asked him what he said. He chuckled and said, "Great, will he regret it?" He left and shouted that they would see what would happen next. When President Wong left, Jang Kyo turned to Lin Fei Yong and said that here is his map. He will deliver all the bags to him. He really hopes that this will suit him. Lin Fang pointed to Miss Qin and told him to give it all to this lady. Miss Qin was surprised and wondered what happened to him. Meanwhile, inside the mall, President Wong called someone and told them not to ask stupid questions and just come here. Was he waiting for them outside? A group of guys came running and asked him what happened. President Wong said that a guy was coming out of here soon, they should follow him, and then they must find a quiet place and break his legs. He laughed and asked what he dared to go against him. So what if he has more money? They will see how sorry he will be for what he did. The guy told him not to worry and left it all to them. Miss Qin asked Lin Fang what just happened to him. She knows the state of his family. Lin Fang told her that there are times when you can't judge a person by their appearance. The person she is today is not the person she was yesterday. Miss Qin hit him on the head and asked him what he was doing to be cool, or what. Lin Fang grabbed his head and, laughing, said that she had seen it all with her own eyes. Miss Qin told him that if he didn't want to talk, then she wouldn't ask either. Everyone has their secrets, though, right? Lin Fang said she was right. Everyone has their secrets. Miss Qin told him that, however, she couldn't accept all these bags. Don't give them to her, otherwise she might get angry. Lin Fang said it was okay. She should just accept them. And he himself thought that she took care of him in a past life, and these bags are not enough to repay her. Miss Qin asked, "What is it? Does he also want to become the one who decides everything with the help of money?" Lin Fang laughed and said that sometimes it brings joy. After which he told her that he had a couple of things to do so he couldn't keep her company. After a while, she should leave from another door. Miss Qin asked, "What's wrong with the other but why?" Lin Fang told her to just listen to him. Then he said goodbye to her, so he can't keep her company. Then he said goodbye to her. He left the mall and went about his business. All this time, President Wang's team was watching him. The man commanded everyone to follow him, but Lin Fang had already seen through everything, and grinning thought that they had set up an ambush. Well, let them go to him. He deliberately and into a dead end and stopped. This guy chuckled and said that this guy found a good place himself, so they need to follow the plan. Lin Fang was at a dead end. The guy told him that heaven is closed to him, so welcome to hell. He insulted their boss and he told them to break his legs so he shouldn't blame them. Lin Feng said that there are always ants in this world, and there are a lot of them. Then one of them shouted that it was necessary to attack altogether, but they didn't even have time to do anything, and Lin Fang had already scattered them all. After that, Lin Fang exhaled and said that he is the immortal emperor, and he fights these gangsters every day, so he should hurry up with his training. He needs to break through into the void and return to the kingdom of heaven, so he decided to see how Zhou was doing. Meanwhile, at Cheesy Zhou's house, Lin Fang was already approaching, but then he stopped as he saw some man who goes out into the cars. Lin Fang thought, isn't that the guy who was with Ziju at the Dynasty Hotel? This man walked into the Ji family restaurant and greeted his aunt and uncle. The Po woman greeted him and said that Zhao had come. She looked at his bag and said that he had brought a gift. He was very kind. Zhao said it was just a small gift. The last time he met Ziju too, he made sure that she was the love of his life, and that's why he decided to see his aunt and uncle today. Then Ziju came out with her, who asked him, "What? Why did he come?" She had told him last time that it was her parents who forced her to meet him. She's not interested in him, so he has to leave. Jia said she doesn't know him that well yet, but she's already judging him. She had to believe him that he was a good man. Mom told her daughter to look at Zhao because he is smart, modest, and even so handsome. Why shouldn't she be nicer to him? To which the girl replied that there was no need. Mom got angry and asked, what was wrong with this child? The father told his wife that didn't she know that their daughter loved Lin Fan. She should stop acting like that. The woman said it was true that he had helped them. However, Zhao is the director of a well-known company. Wealth is everything. She is sure that their daughter will find happiness if s. Then Zhao called out to them, said that he had come to talk about his life's work between him and Zisou. As they all know, he is now the director of a listed company, and his schedule is very tight right now. That's why he really hopes that Jisoo will marry him as soon as he graduates. He expects the same. Has prepared his ransom from Let Them See and handed them the documents. The woman accepted them, decided to look through them. It was written there that one courtyard in the Dragon Villa, 5% of the shares of the Jiao Corporation. The man told him that it was too much. Then Ziju came and snatching these papers, threw them and said that, yes, who needs it? Jiao has to get out of here. Jiao smiled at her and said that marriage is a big event, and he thinks that it needs the blessing of his parents, otherwise this marriage will be unhappy. And he asked what was wrong. He turned to her parents and asked what they would say to that. But then Lin Fan came and told him to stop flogging this nonsense. Jiao asked that, who is he? Lin Fan asked him, what else he dares to ask, who is he? Jisoo was very happy to see him and called out Lin Fan. She ran up to him and told him not to misunderstand her. Will she explain all this to him? Lin Fan said that, after all, beautiful flowers always attract nasty bugs. Jiao jumped up and said, yes, how dare he? But then Lin Fan shouted at him, saying that he was telling him. Jiao fell down from fear. He was shaking all over and thought what was going on. He couldn't even move. Lin Fan asked him what kind of mage dares to go against a dragon and a tiger. Jiao was still shaking all over and asked him that he knew who he was. The man approached him and asked Mr. Jiao if he was okay. Lin Fan told him that he wasn't interested in who he was. He should hurry up and leave here. Jiao said he couldn't believe it, so he's a cultivator. So it's no wonder he's so arrogant, but even though he is a cultivator, however, their company turned them down stands alongside the Chen family. So what if he's a cultivator? As soon as the Chen family tackles him, he will immediately die. Lin Fan asked, what is the Chen family? Jiao asked, what is it? Is he afraid? And now he has to fall on his knees and ask for forgiveness from him. And then he will forgive him. Otherwise, Lin Fan got angry and asked, otherwise what? Z began to tremble all over and asked, what was going on? He has such a murderous look. If he keeps talking, then maybe. But he didn't have time to finish as Lin Fan pinned him to the floor and he started beating him up. Lin Fan approached him and asked, what else was? What two words irritate him the most right now? And this is the Chen family. Yuan started it. But Jisoo told him not to do it, but Lin Fan said, no, he said he wanted him to get out of here and never come across him again. Jiao, running away, shouted to him that he would not let him go just like that. The Chen family won't let him go. He's going to die soon, and Jisoo will be his woman. When he ran away, the woman asked Lin Fan that this Jiao he, why did he kneel before him? Lin Fan smiled at her and asked, who knows, maybe he couldn't do anything with his legs. He hugged Zijuan. Turning to her parents, said that they would walk a little, so let them keep doing what they were doing. The two of them came to the park and sat down on a bench. Lin Fan asked her that, how did she get to know this Jiao? Zizhong told him not to even mention it, because it was her mother who deceived her. She said she found an internship for her. It turned out to be a blind date. Lin Fan patted her on the head and laughing, asked, well, who made him Ziju, such a beauty? Ziju was confused and said that this was not the case. She approached him and asked why he had changed so much. Although he has become so strong, however, he is not the Lin Fan she knows. When she said all this, she was very nervous. Lin Fan calmly told her that one day she would find out everything. Zizhong said that she knows, no matter who he has become, she will always believe him. She hugged him and said she would always be there for him. Lin Fan thanked her inwardly. After 1 month, Lin Fan was sitting in the classroom and said it was so quiet. No news from Lao, Wai, or Chen Qi either. How boring. Then teacher Qing came into the classroom and she said that a student from a foreign school was being transferred to them today. One of the students asked, what is being translated? Another said he didn't know if it was a guy or a girl. Teacher Qin told this student to come in. It was Lin Yantie. He greeted everyone and said that he was now their classmate. One of the girls said he was so handsome. But Lin Fan tensed up. This Lin Yangqia was emitting some kind of strange aura and told them to take care of him. He turned to Lin Fan and told him to take care of him too. Lin Fan said it was very interesting. Lin Yangqia was approaching him. He held out his hand to him and told him that he was Lin Yangqia from the Lin family and asked him to take care of him. Lin Fan shook his hand and said that it was fine. Teacher Qin asked if they really knew each other. Lin Yangqia said they were old friends. They squeeze each other's hands very hard. Lin Fan smiled and said that it was so and recent friends, and they are also from the same clan. Ling Yongtan gritted his teeth and said that now they would be classmates, and he really hoped that they would become friends. After that, he sat down next to Lin Fan and said that the teacher could start the lesson. He looked closely at Lin Fan and thought that this guy was very strong. He even hurt his arm very badly, and she was still shaking. He thought that, besides, his inner energy poured into his but disappeared without a trace. Lin Fan seems to be very good. Lin Fan also looked at him and grinned, thinking that Lin Yongtia, isn't it? Well, they'll see how many techniques the Lin clan has. The bell rang from the lesson and all the students went out for recess. Lin Fan approached Lin Yantia and asked him if he was busy and invited him to talk. Lin Fan smiled at him and said that, of course. Then they went outside. When they were alone, Lin Yongtia asked him that he had heard that he was pretending to be the heir of his family, wasn't it? Lin Fan asked that he was pretending. Why would he do that? Lin Yongtia chuckled and said, that's how it is. There's no one here right now to see if he understands what he means. After that, Lin Yongtia's aura enveloped them. He created a dome around them and said that inside this barrier, the sound is completely blocked, and although his clan never causes trouble, however, he offended those people, that is why he will take revenge on it. He no longer has to pretend to be a descendant of the Lin family. Lin Fang yawned and said that he understood well how boring it was, but Lin Yanqiao was very serious. He said it was the secret of the universe. He won't be able to take a step in this space. After that, he applied the earth-shifting mountain technique, and then he used the technique of fire, sunstroke. But Lin Fan had nothing to do with all this. Yin Yantia caught his breath, then a silhouette appeared in the fog. It was Lin Fan who said that this technique was only good for deceiving children. He dusted off his clothes and said he underestimated him. Lin Yongqia said that this is true. Usually techniques do not work on him, then they should continue. After that, he used machinery and land. A huge stone man appeared and attacked Lin Fan, but he broke it with only one hand, and he said he was a fool. Then he applied his technique. Lin Fan watched him closely and thought, is it really a green flame? This guy. What he said was that he hadn't finished yet, and applied his thunder technique, thunderclap. This technique reached Lin Fan and attacked him. After that, Lin Yongqia once again applied his fire technique. He asked if it really worked. Lin Fan wasn't hurt at all, just upset. Said he tore his school uniform. However, he used the green flame. It's not bad for this mortal world. Lin Yongqia said that the mortal world. How does he know this word? Lin Fan said he knows more than that. Lin Yongqia focused again and applied the tree forest embrace technique. The tree branches wrapped around Lin Fan's body, restraining his movements. After that, the water technique was applied. Lil Fan said that was enough, and then ordered these branches to break. He asked Lin Yongqia that he kind of ran out of techniques, didn't he? So now it's his turn. Lin Yongqia thought that his father had once said that they were descendants of the Lin clan from the world of truth. On Earth, only descendants can reach the truth and destroy the void. But even his father is only at the peak of Che cultivation right now, but at this moment, even if he had released. Lin Fan asked him what it was that the techniques had already run out, so it's his turn now, isn't it? But then three girls appeared. Lin Fan was upset and said that this guy, Lin Yongqia, came up to him and said in his ear that he was having a party at the Empire Hotel today, and he was inviting him there. The Lin clan never makes trouble. They only need lymph because the Chen family is kind to them. However, he is not his rival, and he does not think he can beat him. Lin Fan said that no way, because Chen Qi must die. Lin Yongqia said it was possible. Lin Fan told him that, and he is treacherous. To which Lin Yongqia told him that it was not so at all. It's just that, for him, an ordinary person is no different from an insect. He handed him a stone and said that a number of stones were a gift to him from him. Lin Fan took it and thought that this guy, he looks like a person from the realm of the immortals, treats people like insects without any sense of compassion. Meanwhile, in the meeting room, from what he heard, Jay even dropped his glass and asked what he said. Lin Yantia said that he was forbidden to ever offend Lin Fan, otherwise, in the worst case, the Lin family would not be able to protect him. QI was very unhappy, asked, what? He turned to his master and asked what he thought about it. The master said that he thought they shouldn't take any action against this person. I thought that maybe even a master. Then gritting his teeth, he said that he understood. Lin Yangqia stood up and said that he had invited Lin Fan to today's treasure hunt. When the time comes, he will try to settle the conflict between them. But for this, the Chen family needs to shed blood. Does he understand? I said he understood. The master told him that he should know that there are creatures in this world that he cannot fight, and Lin Fan is just one of them. She said yes. His master got up and turning to the door, said that it was good. She has to prepare everything else. After that, he and Lin Yintia left. He was very angry. He was pounding the wall with all his might. He was being watched by an old man who chuckled and said that this Lin Fan was really something. Zhao Bufan and Lin Yangqian's descendant are powerless in front of him. However, he can use this Chenche Empire Hotel. A lot of people gathered to see what was going on here. One of the guys asked what was going on here. Why is the entrance fenced with red tape? To which the other guy replied that he had heard that there would be some very big event here. Then Lin Fan appeared and said that this hotel is full of treasures. It seems that today's banquet is not so ordinary. Lin Fan walked up to the entrance, but the guard told him to leave, asking if he couldn't see that it was closed. He has to get out of here. But Lin Fan ignored him and was going to come in. The guard grabbed him by his clothes and asked if he hadn't heard him. But then Che came out and told the guard to let him go. This is their esteemed guest. The guard immediately let him go and apologized to the gentleman, saying that he did not know this. Sai turned to Lin Fan and told him to come in. He asked him what after all. What kind of person was he? Lin Fan said he didn't need to know about it. Sai told him that his Chen family had not offended him before, but today he has completely sincere thoughts, and he really hopes that he will enjoy today's banquet. After that, they went into the hall, which was already full of people. Master Che approached Lin Fan. He held out his hand to him and asked that he was Lin Fan, wasn't he? After that, he introduced himself and said that he was Zhao Bufan. Lin Fan shook his hand and said, yes. Zhao Bufan said, that is expected. The outstanding face has a majestic appearance. And I asked him that he already knew that today's banquet was not just a banquet, wasn't it? Lin Fan said that, yes. He felt a very strong power, and it seems that there are a lot of heavenly treasures here. Zhao Bufang said that the faithful will actually host an unusual little auction of top-level rare treasures tonight. Not so much, but quite a lot, and he has prepared some gifts for Mr. He handed him the casket and said that this was a good quality spirit stone that he had received decades ago, and now he was giving it to him. Lin Fan took this box in his hands and opened it. Asked what he looked at this stone, and was surprised to think that the aura of this spiritual stone is much stronger than the spiritual weapon he received. And she told Master Zhao that in that case, he would take it as a compliment. Zhao Bufan said it was fine. The auction is about to start, so they need to go, and told him to follow him. Then Zhao burst in and called Lin Fan and said that it was him. He greeted him and asked if he remembered him. He wants to pay for his insult against him. Lin Fan looked at him and asked, who is he anyway? Zhao said that he doesn't know how he got here. However, he shouldn't think that he can leave so easily. He saw Che and called out to him. Che looked in their direction and asked what was going on here and why he was shouting. The guy told him that this was the guy. He's the one who ruined everything and humiliated him behind his back. Lin Fan happily said that. Yes, it was him. So what? Zhao was furious and said that he was still so cocky at the end of the day. He told Mr. Chen to take a look at this bowl. He absolutely doesn't care about them. But Chet hit him, so he flew away and shouted at him to get out of here. Zhao was scared and asked, what for? What? Che repeated it again and said, he told him to get out. After that, Zhao got to his feet and ran away. Qi approached Lin Fan and said he was sorry, because it was his fault. After that, they entered the banquet hall, and Lin Fan had already sat down at the table. He asked them, what were they waiting for? Zhao Bufan asked that, why don't they leave here too? Sai agreed with him, after which, they sat down at the same table with Lin Fan. Lin Yangqia came into the banquet hall and said that the time was getting ready for the beginning. He approached them at the table and asked for forgiveness for waiting. He turned to Lin Fan and said that this little auction had excellent staff. He has to say what he wants. Lin Fan asked him, what is he sure about this? Lin Yangqia told him to continue. Lin Fan said that in that case, he would take everything. For a moment, Lin Yangqian was very surprised, after which he laughed and said that it was fine. He asked that he thinks he doesn't have a magic weapon, right? Lin Fan said, no. Then Lin Yantiat handed him the ring and asked him what he thought about this ring. Lin Fan looked at him carefully and asked, what is this ring? Lin Yangqia said that despite the low grade, it's a great thing, that's why he gives it to him. Lin Fan accepted the ring and said it was fine. He put it on and felt something very strange. Lin Yangqia watched him closely and thought that refinement in an instant, right? It's just not possible, even for a cultivator to build a foundation, it would take at least a quarter of an hour. Is he really? Lin Fan noticed how Lin Yangqia was looking at him and asked, what is it? Lin Yangqia said, there is nothing. Then the presenter announced that he had made them wait a lot and he thanked everyone for coming. The auction is already starting. They should first welcome Mr. Chen Qi to today's auction. Chen chested up and walked onto the stage. He said he was sure they were all aware that there was an auction today. Without further ado, because everyone's time is precious, which is why he announces the auction has officially begun. Everyone started applauding. After that, everyone was told to get ready, because one item will soon be revealed. Several girls came on stage holding boxes in their hands. Kai said that here it is. The girl opened the box, and Sai said that this jade pendant is 20 years old from the collection of the Chen family. The initial price is $25 million. Let the bidding begin. Lin Yangqia asked Lin Fan what? How is he? Does he want to buy it? To which Lin Fan replied that it was nothing amazing. Lin Yangqia said that it is clear. Then they move on. Then the host announced that they were congratulating the gentleman who won the jade for $40 million. Chess said that, and now they are moving on to the second subject. The next girl came out and, opening the box, Chess said that this pill would help fighters who practice Cha and strengthen the true essence of their body. The initial price is $60 million. Lin Fan was surprised and said that a pill of this level was trading for 60 million. Lin Yantia asked him if he knew how these pills were made. Lin Fan said he didn't know much about it. Lang Yangqia asked if brother Lin could raise the level of this pill. Lin Fan said it was easy. Lin Yantia said that brother is really gifted. A man came in and laughed out loud, said that they had a secret auction here, so why didn't anyone call him? Che said he didn't remember him inviting him. The man asked that even if he did not invite him, did he really think that he would not come? Then he looked around and told everyone that they hadn't seen each other for a long time. This man noticed Lin Yantia and approached him. He told him he couldn't believe he was here, and asked him how his father was. Lin Yangqia told him not to worry, because his father is fine. The man asked, what and who is it next to him? Lin Yangqia said it was his guest. The man said that he must be very capable since he became his guest. His name is Zhang Xishan, and he is from the Zhang family in Longcheng City. Lin Fan thought that the Zhang family is from Wankan City. As far as he remembers, this is one of the few Soviet families that were founded by a monk in. Lin Yangqiat whispered to him that the Zhang clan, in terms of family heritage, is much stronger than their Lin clan. But the outsider family is very eccentric, that's why everyone dislikes them. Zhang Cheshan said that, well, so be it. He stood in the middle of the hall and said that, by the way, he was here today to tell them that it was not worth putting these things up for auction, as he would take them all. Zhang Cheshan said that he wants all these things from the auction. What kind of man asked who it was, to which his neighbor replied that he had no idea. Lin Yanshan said, Zhang Cheshan, that he is still here. Does he really consider it an empty place? Zhang Cheshan apologized to him. Then he leaned over to him and whispered, said that, but he really is nothing to him. What can he do to him? Lin Yantia told him not to embarrass himself. Then Lin Fan got into the conversation. Who asked him that he was Zhang Cheshan? Didn't he? The man said, what? And what next? Lin Fan told him that if he wanted something, he could take anything he didn't need. Zhang Shan asked, what's what? That sounds pretty presumptuous. Lin Fan said that he doesn't like people who talk nonsense right in front of his nose. So he should get out of his sight and quickly. Zhang Shan did not intend to retreat. He bent down to him and said, what or what? He's not going anywhere. And what will he do to him? Lin Fan told him that he was saying for the last time, he could take everything he didn't need. However, he should leave now. John Shan said he would like to see how he would tell him to get out. Lin Fan didn't say anything to him, just stare at him. From this look, John Shan got goosebumps. He stepped back and thought that this guy, Lin Yangqia, chuckled and thought that he shouldn't make trouble. John Shan thought that this guy was very strong. One look from him is enough to feel that he is not his rival. He laughed and said that, well, in that case, it really was his mistake. Okay, so be it. He's leaving right now. Lin Yangqia said that this guy is so arrogant. John Shan came out of the hall and said that, however, this guy is very unpredictable. What he needs if everything works out in his favor. Ches said that then they can continue their auction. Lin Fan said he wasn't interested in it. Lin Yantia said that then they can look at the next lot. Then John Shan got involved again, who said that if so, he would bet $80 million and take it away. Everyone was shocked. Ches said that since no one offered a higher price, it was his. After that, he presented 3 lots after seeing this thing. Lin Fan thought that this thing had a protective barrier. He can buy it in order to protect ZMEI, he will need it in the future. And he said that he would take this thing. Lin Yanjia said that he was finally interested. Then they take it, he puts 100 million. Sitting next to the men already sweating, Che said that then they congratulate these two on the acquisition. Then he said that they were presenting them with 4 lots, let them look at everything. This dagger was found in the tomb of the Qin family, a collector's item with an initial price of 50 million. They start bidding. Lin Yangqia looked at Lin Fan, but Lin Fan said no. Then John Shan intervened again, who said what he wanted, and he doesn't think anyone will argue with him. Che could barely hold on and thought that this old fool. Then he said that his congratulations to this old. After which the woman took out the last lot. Che said he was announcing it personally. He opened the box, and John Shen tensed and thought that it was the same. Che said that this iron scroll contains an incredible Che purification technique, the value of which needs no further explanation. So this thing is only subject to exchange, that's why this thing can only be lured out. Lin Fan turned away and said that he shouldn't be interested in it. Lin Yangqia looked at him and thought that he hadn't even looked at the Che purification technique. It looks like he has a lot of techniques. John Shen said, it's a great thing, he takes it. He wants to exchange some of his family's body cleansing skills for this Che cleansing technique. Che said that, of course, he trusts the Zhang family's technique, so it's his. This concludes their auction today. Good luck. Many left dissatisfied, saying that what the hell they didn't even have a chance to participate. Lin Fan got up and said he would go too. Lin Yantia said it was fine. Lin Fan was stopped by Zhang Shen, who told him to wait a minute. He asked if he could have the honor of inviting him to join them, to which Lin Fan said he wasn't interested. Zhang Shen told him that he was so determined in his refusals, he has more friends than he can imagine, and besides, that he exhaled and said it was just awful. Lin Fan didn't listen into him any further and left Zhang Shen, then turned to Lin Yangqia and told him that he had heard that the Moran imperial clan would arrive in the capital in the next few days. Lin Yangqia stopped and asked what he said. Lin Fan stopped and asked him, what did he say to Moran? A flame broke out. Lin Fan turned around and asked that when talking about the Moran family, he was talking about Moran, wasn't he? Lin Fan asked, isn't that right? Zhang Shen was shaking all over and said, yes. Lin Fan chuckled. He laughed out loud and said, it was great, just wonderful. Lin Yangqia thought that, did he have some kind of quarrel with the Moran family? Lin Fan thought that where there is a path to heaven, Moran King does not choose it. Where there are no doors to hell, he invades them. It's time to settle the score from their past, lads. Zhang Shen asked him if he didn't get along with the Moran family. Lin Fan said it was none of his business. Zhang Kohler laughed and said it was fine if he didn't want to talk about it. However, He Zhang from the Dragon City family also dislikes the Moran family. That is why, if he needs something, he should let him know about it. Lin Yangqia asked him that. How dare he say that? Is he? Can he say also in front of the Moran family? Zhang Shen told him that he could not say such a thing to someone's face. But he doesn't have the best attitude towards this family, either, does he? So why don't they meet a little later and talk it over? Jia Fan chuckled and said that was fine. After that, he turned to Lin Fan and said that this family is quite authoritative, and they have many enemies. However, they are too strong, so no one can handle them. If he really has something against them, then they need to talk about it. Sai also reached out to him and said that he thought he should consider their proposals. The Chen and Morong families have their own problems. If he needs it, they will give him full support. Let's just say it was their Chen family's decision to achieve reconciliation. Lin Fan laughed and said that. Zhang Shen said, "That's nice. Oh, recently Bob Via's here, so why don't they go to him? What do they think about this?" Jia Bufan said, "As they please." Lin Yongqia said they would go. Zhang Chen then asked them all to follow him. Lin Yongqia said that, well, the Morong family's strength is getting bigger. Even if they combine their efforts, it's hardly enough to shake them a little. Lin Fan asked what their Lin clan, Zhang clan, Qin clan and Jia Bufan were unable to even shake the Morong family. Sai said that with their current strength, they really aren't capable of fighting them. Lin Fan thought that the Morong family had definitely become stronger than it was in the previous life. Lin Yanchan said, "That's right, this family has a lot of elite chi energy techniques, and their people don't even match them by 10%, and besides Cheng, there are two more powerful people who are already close to creating the foundation. In order to compete with this, they need more elite experts." Lin Fan thought that it seemed like they needed a good plan to kill Cheng right now, and the most urgent task is to increase their cultivation as quickly as possible. Zhang Shen said that even talking about it, he has news that he is going to keep for himself. However, since they were all gathered, he would not hide anything. In general, this time, the Morong family arrives in the city for the sake of the Snow Lotus, 9 treasures. Everyone was very surprised. Jia Bufan asked that Snow Lad with 9 treasures appeared in the capital, didn't he? "It's just not possible for me either." Lin Yongqia said that it blooms every 30 years, but now it has only been 10 years since the last flowering, so how did it happen? Zhang Shen chuckled and said they didn't know yet. However, this time, the tender lot with 9 treasures did not grow by itself, but blossomed as a result of a catalyst created by people. Lin Yongqia told him that he must have a good imagination. The Snow Lotus with 9 treasures is a spiritual artifact. It can only bloom on its own if it really could be an artificial impact. Jia Bufan said that, of course, how can you believe Zhang Shan's words? Zhang Shen said that he knew they wouldn't believe him, but it's the truth. Even though the Snow Lotus with 9 treasures was born by heaven and earth, there is a person who has been studying how to artificially grow a spiritual artifact since the age of 12. Just in the last month, according to the Morong family's secret spy count, he was able to successfully express the snow lots with 9 treasures. The flower was slightly different from the one that was created by heaven and earth. However, this does not change anything, and he is 92 years old. Jia Bufan tensed up and asked that the person he was telling was not an old poor man. Zhang Shen said, "That's right, it's an old poor man." Jia Bufan said that well done, he couldn't even think that he would do it. Lin Fan asked who he was, this poor old man. Jia Bufan said that this guy comes from a martial arts family. He was very gifted since childhood. It is said that he reached the QI purification realm at the age of 10, and was perhaps the most outstanding genius of his generation 80 years ago. He knows what happened, but at the age of 12, he gave up martial arts training and started cultivating the spiritual treasures of earth and heaven. At that time, everyone thought he was crazy, and it turned out to be true. 80 years have passed, and the former real genius has turned into trash who live by begging. Lin Fan said that in this case, he is a very purposeful person. Jia Bufan asked Zhang Chen that how was he able to find out information about the Morong family. Zhang Shan laughed and said that, of course, he had his own methods. Lin Yongtiano said that in that case, why don't they just go and take the lotus from the 9 treasures then? Zhang Shen said it was easier said than done whether he knew the old poor man's cultivation level. This poor old man has already built the foundation. If asked what Lin Yongkem said that he would never have thought that he had already reached such a stage of cultivation. Zhang Shen said, that's not all. How can they take away something of power now? At the strong foundation stage, cultivators of the Morong family are hiding around the old poor man. He told them everything, even though he was going to grab a lot of 9 treasures on his own while they were both vulnerable. When they receive the lotto with 9 treasures, he will take the lotus himself and divide the seeds equally. What will they say about it? Jia Bufan said that he agreed to share the seeds, but he could not give him the lotus. Zhang Shen said that he was the one who told him everything. He shouldn't be so greedy. The 9 treasure lotus should be his. Zhao Bufang said that he proposes to divide the lotus seeds equally and process the lotus itself into a pill and also divide them. He will pay for all the resources needed for this. How can he do that? Che said he agreed. Zhang Shen said it wasn't a bad idea. Lin Yantia said it was fine. Zhang Shen said that it was fine. And now that they had all come to an agreement, they needed to plan how to pit them against each other. And when that happened, it would be time to reap the benefits. But Lin Fan said he was refusing one lotus seed and one pill for each of them and the rest for him. Zhang Shen asked him what he said. Lin Fan said that all they needed was to hold one foundation stage cultivator, and he will deal with the rest himself. What he means is that there is no need to pit them against each other. Just need to restrain one strong foundation stage cultivator, and for the rest, they have to rely on him. Lin Yangqia asked him, "What are we really going to?" Lin Fan said he was thinking correctly. Lin Yangqia chuckled and said that he understood it suits him, so he agrees. Lin Fan turned to Mr. Jia and asked, "What about him?" Zhao Bufan said he agreed. Sai said he agreed too. Zhang Shen was shocked and asked, "What are they doing?" And he himself thought that this Lin Fan, is he also a foundation stage cultivator? This can't be happening. What are they combining in order to deceive him? Lin Fan asked him, "What is it?" Didn't he believe him? Zhang Shan hesitated and said that it was like, but then he noticed that the tips of his fingers began to freeze. Everyone else sighed and felt it. Lin Yantia asked, "What is it really?" It was Lin Fan. Sai said he couldn't move. Lin Fan asked, "What now?" Zhang Shen was so scared that he said he believed. Lin Fan said he snapped his fingers. After that, everyone could move again. Lin Fan thought that the strength he had just shown was already quite close to the peak of his might. Even so, it's still not as strong as the foundation level. How is it possible to compare the power of an immortal with the power of ordinary mortals? Then he said that, well, in that case, tomorrow tea. Meanwhile, in some ruined temple, an old man was lying there sleeping. Then he heard thunder and woke up. At the moment, Sai was driving and Zhang Shen was sitting next to him. Sai told him that he had said that the poor old man was somewhere in this remote mountainous area. Zhang Shen said that his information is always reliable. Then they arrived at the ruined temple. Lin Fan walked one and thought, what a powerful chat he could sense. It even being so far away, there is a really strong foundation level cultivator here. Besides the poor old man, there is someone else here who is very strong. The cultivators of the Morong family are nearby. Her cultivation level is slightly better than that of the old poor man. At his level, the two of them will not be a problem, therefore everything will be fine. Zhang Shen asked that when they start. Lin Fan said that now. The poor old man grinned and said, "They were here 80 years ago." This old man already understood the principle of responsibility. Zhang Shen turned to him and said that, since he had already understood everything, then he should give them the Lotus 9 treasures, otherwise he would have problems. The old poor man asked, "What's the problem? What's wrong with them?" The old poor man turned to the cultivators of the Morong family and told them to stop hiding and come out. A girl came around the corner and grinning, said that they had noticed her, after all. Then she greeted everyone. Kyo Buffin asked, "What is this Morong shoe?" The old poor man listed all these families. Then he got up and said that it was a great honor for him to be a beggar. However, this Lotus of 9 treasures is the effort of his whole life, and they'll only get it over his dead body. Zhang Shen told Mr. Lin that he was leaving the Morong family cultivator to him, and turning to the old poor man, he said that they were in charge here. Lin Fan said, "No problem." The poor old man lost his temper and shouted at them to stop talking nonsense. After that, everyone else went out into the courtyard to fight there. Lin Fan turned to the girls from the Morong family and said that they were left alone, so he asks them to go ahead. Miss Shu said she was asking for her forgiveness. Then Lin Fan told her not to hold back. The girl hit him and told him not to be distracted. Lin Fan said it was pretty fast, but he was still able to dodge the next blow. He noticed the ball and, surprised, said that the ball too. Miss Shu repeated that she had said that there was no need to be distracted. Lin Fan told her that she was quite strong. Miss Shu said that jokes aside, she fights him with full force and attacked Lin Fan, after which she once again said that Yin 8 trigrams, 8 fangs wrapped around the palm. Miss Sue said it was the end. Then he applied this seal again and ordered it to explode. There was a huge explosion. Noticing this, The old poor man grinned and said that there was a real mess. Yin Yan Chia was already famously exhausted, and said that this poor old man was unharmed after their attacks. What else could you expect from a strong foundation stage cultivator? The poor old man said it was in their dreams. They want to steal the Lotus 9 treasures, don't they? Then John Shen attacked him from behind and said that then they would show him. That the poor old man grabbed him by the arm and, laughing, said that he had caught him. After untwisting him, he threw him aside and told him to get out of here. John Shen managed to stop and said that he was caught. The old poor man was surprised and asked what it was. There was a big explosion. It started to rain. John Shen turned to the old poor man and asked, "Well, how is it? This is a secret poison bomb. His family is impressive, isn't it?" The poor old man called him and said he was a damn John Shen. Xian Shen told his team that they should attack together. Now, after that, they all attacked the old poor man together, but the poor old man held up very well. Meanwhile, in the building itself, there was silence. Miss Xu asked Lin Fan if he was still alive. Lin Fan shook off the dust and said that it was not bad. Chip, the internal energy in the palm of 8 trigrams, you can multiply the explosive power of each palm for someone who has just reached the foundation stage. She is quite strong. Miss Xu said that even so, she still couldn't beat him. He is really very strong. Miss Xu asked that, when did a foundation stage cultivator like him appear in the capital? Lin Fan said it didn't matter and asked if she had finished. Now it's his turn. But Miss Xu stopped him and told him to take his time. Now it will become really interesting. Lin Fan asked, "What really?" People outside heard some kind of explosion and inside the building, Che asked what was going on there. After that, Lin Fan and Miss Xu got out fighting with each other. Lin Fan deftly stopped her attack and said, "Still is fast. She is very good at the 8 trigrams technique." He was still holding her hand and said that, unfortunately, it's still not enough. Then he grabbed her other hand. He brought her closer to him and asked that, didn't she know that the fist of 8 trigrams specializes in close, short attacks, and if she loses control, then her entire body is controlled by her opponent. Miss Xu said that, of course, she knows all this. She hit him and said he didn't need to remind her about it. Lin Fan said that her fist of 8 trigrams is really strong. However, if she is going to compare boxing techniques, Lin Fan said that he was using Tai Chi for defense. She should try to punch him with her fist, 8 trigrams. Miss Xu jumped up and told him to hold on. Then she hit him, but Lang Fan blocked the blow. Miss Xu asked if it was really Tai Chi Jin. Lin Fan said that, yes, that's right. It's Tai Chi Jin. She should feel it, how softness overcomes strength. And then he attacked her, but frightened, he said that it was too much. Lin Fan, in the blink of an eye, he found himself next to Miss Xian, catching her. Asked for forgiveness, he told her that he didn't think she had such a slim waist. Meanwhile, the fight with the old poor man continued. John Shan told him to stop resisting. He has no chance to win. He was poisoned by his John family's poison, and besides, he is now in their formation. The poor old man, he wasn't going to give up, and told him not to be so arrogant. The poor old man got angry and called him names. Ches said that he shouldn't be allowed to destroy the formation, and told his master to cover Jan Shan. The old poor man was already approaching him and said that even if they had to die, he would take him with him. Chan and his master blocked his way and at the same time told him not to even think about it. Zhao Bufan said he wouldn't let him either, but the poor old man was not going to give up. He told Zhang Xuan to go to hell. Then the blow was dealt out, and Zhang Shan flew to the side. Zhao Bufan said that couldn't he even protect his body with inner strength. Miss Xu pushed Lin Fan away from her, and she told him not to come any closer. Lin Fan began to apologize to her again. Miss Xu said he was shameless. Then she looked at the old poor man. She thought that it looked like the poor old man was at the limit of his abilities. If he die, then the Lotus 9 treasures might not survive. She needs to finish faster. After that, she turned to Lin Fan and said that she didn't have time to fight with him. Lin Fan said, "Come on, they can play a little more." After that, Miss Xu created 2 of her puppets, which rushed to attack Lin Fan. Lin Fan laughed and said that even though the punch got bigger, the force was still the same. One of them told him to stop talking nonsense and kicked him in the face. Lin Fan flew away. Lin Fan smiled, then thanked them for giving him a lift. This Su was surprised and asked what Lin Fan was commanding his own that now. Jabo Fen shouted to Lin Yanjia that he had to do it. The poor old man turned around and asked what Lin Yanjia was, but then Lin Yanjia attacked him. He barely restrained himself and said that everything was right. He had been waiting for this moment. After which Lin Fan approached the old poor man. Miss Shu said it was a ruse. Lin Fan said he would take care of the poor old man. The poor old man laughed and said he was looking for death. After which he grabbed Lin Fan and told him that he would die with him. He should let him show him one last time how the Lotus 9 treasures will leave this world. Jiao Bao Fen said it was very bad. Lotus 9 treasures. Lin Fan whispered to the poor old man to listen to him. He's not one of them, and offered him to unite and kill them. The old poor man was surprised and asked what Lin Fan told him to cooperate with him, otherwise, don't let him blame him. Then he attacked him. Lin Fan dusted himself off and said that thanks to them, he managed to hit him very hard. Zibu Fong said it was a good job, and now they can take the Lotus 9 treasures. Lin Fan said, yes, we need to pick him up. Jiabu Fang approached the old poor man and told him to give the Lotus 9 treasures, otherwise he would die. But the poor old man didn't answer him. Jiao Bufeng said that it looks like he is seriously injured, but should survive. He turned to Lin Fan and told him to grab Miss Shu first. Lin Fan told him to leave it to him. But the one Miss Shu decided to attack him from behind and shouted that, did they really think it was so easy to take away the Lotus 9 treasures? Lin Fan told her that the time for games was over. She should just watch. Miss Shu told him that they didn't understand it, but she could see everything perfectly. What the hell is he doing here? Lin Fan told her that she is smart. However, she is a member of the Morong family. He is not the same as Morong Kai, which is why he will let her live if she leaves now. Miss Shu asked, what is Morong King? Hearing that name, she gritted her teeth. Lin Fan realized that something had changed, and thought that as soon as it came to Morong King, a huge thirst for murder began to emanate from her. It seems that this girl is also not easy. Jiao Bufen thought that it seemed Miss Shu wasn't going to interfere. He sat down to the old poor man and said that he did not expect that he, the old poor man, would miss and sink to such an extent that he would have to decide whether to live or not. He laughed and asked that it was fate, wasn't it? But then the poor old man opened his eyes. Jiao Bufen didn't expect this. Therefore, the poor old man managed to injure him. Lin Yantia decided to rush to his aid, but was also attacked. The old poor man, turning to Jiao Bufan, said that he was right. It was fate. Lin Yongqia said that, how is this possible? He was beaten by Lin Fan himself. The poor old man said, that's right, he got a blow from him. However, the blow of the baby lion removed all the toxins from his body. The old poor man said that he was asking next, pretended to be dead and waited for the moment until he approached. And all this is thanks to Lin Fan's brother. Lin Yongqia was expecting this and asked, what is Lin Fan? He looked at him questioningly. Lin Fan asked him what he thought he wouldn't understand their plan. Unfortunately, they are not old enough to play with him yet. Zhang Shen got up and asked to wait for him. He asked if there was any misunderstanding between them. Lin Fan chuckled and asked, what misunderstanding is he saying? Does he have to use mind control to force him to tell the truth? Zhang Shen said that, well, it's over. Lin Yongqia said they underestimated him, but they will see each other again. Lin Fan looked at him and asked, what? After which, Lin Yongqia applied her technique called Stone Dungeon and sealed herself. After that, he said goodbye to Lin Fan. And this stone dungeon was completely closed. And after it all went underground, Lin Fan looked at it all, and then said that he would wait for their next meeting. The poor old man thanked Lin Fan. Lin Fan told him to rest, let him be so kind. And he still has things to do, he should talk to this girl. Miss Shu asked him who was he. Lin Fan said that if she could see through him so easily, it would mean that he had lived his life in vain. This Shu was very shocked and asked what he was, but Lin Fan glared at her and said there was no need to say it. He grabbed her and said the game was over. Miss Shu asked, why was he so fast? Lin Fan chuckled and said that fast for a man is a dubious praise. Zhang Shen looked at all this and said that he had lost. They actually abandoned him and ran away. Damn Lin Yunqia crawling away from this place. He said that he needed to get out of here. Lin Fan asked the girl to tell her what her relationship with Morong Qing was. Miss Shu told him that if he wanted to kill her, he had to do it. She wouldn't tell him anything about her family. Lin Fan chuckled and said that was fine. He changed his mind. Then he released the girl. He sat down and said he wouldn't kill her. Instead, he would kill someone for her. The girl was shaking all over and asked him what he meant. Lin Fan hugged Mishu to him. The girl asked him, "What is he doing?" Lin Fan whispered to her that he could kill Morong King for her. The girl pulled away from him and said that she belongs to this family, despite the fact that he says he will help her kill Morong King. Lin Fan said it wasn't bad, although she is one of them. However, when he mentioned his name, the murderous lust in her eyes betrayed her. It doesn't matter how well she hides it, but the thirst for murder is simply impossible to hide. The girl asked him that he even knows how strong Morong King is. Lin Fan stood up and said that he didn't know his strength. However, he could only tell her one thing, that he was stronger than him. The ground in this place began to crack. The old poor man asked what it was, who is this guy, and where did he get such power from? But first he decided to finish here. He rushed after Zhang Shen. Zhang Shen saw this, and in a panic, began to shout that it was not necessary to do this, but then it was filled up with slats. Miss Shu said, "Wow." Lin Fan asked her what she understood now this huge gap in power. The girl said that it was simply impossible. What kind of cultivation level does he actually have? Lin Fan said that, well, he thinks that deep down, she already knows the answer to that. Zhang Shen asked Lin Fan not to kill him. He will do whatever he wants. Lin Fan told him to shut his mouth. No one allowed him to talk yet. He turned to the girl again, told her to choose. He would kill Morong King for her, or he would kill her. Nermsu didn't tell him anything. Lin Fan was already starting to lose his patience, and told her that he wasn't that patient. She has 3 seconds to respond. Then he started counting. He said, 3 times up, and he was about to kill her, but the girl shouted at him to wait. Lin Fan stopped. The girl asked him if he would really help her kill Morong King. Lin Fan said that, of course, if he said he would help kill him, then so be it. The girl said that it was good. She would believe him, and asked what was required of her. Lin Fan said, "Fine, but first there is something else." He glanced at Zhang Shen and said that he would like to deal with someone else. First, he went up to him and asked, what should he do with him? Zhang Shen was very scared and told him that as long as he didn't kill him, then he would do whatever he said. Lin Fan asked him, what if he wasn't interested? Zhang Shen began to bow to him and said that it was all the work of Zibufan and Lin Yangtia. He had nothing to do with it at all, and besides they were going to deal with the Morong family. He could provide them with full support. Lin Fan is the only one who can do this. Lin Fan said that he felt that it was still not enough. Zhang Shen started rummaging in his pockets and said that, of course, he had something else. He took out a ring from his pocket and said, it was a spatial ring. It has already changed ownership. It and everything that is inside is now only his. It contains countless treasures, each of which he gives to Lin Fan as proof of his sincerity. Lin Fan took this ring in his hands and said that it was the same. Zhang Shen laughed and said that it was, so let Lin Fan try it on. Lin Fan put on this ring and said that it was very good. Zhang Shen got ready for something and said that it was very valuable. Then he did something, and the ring on Lin Fan's hand snapped. He was bleeding. Zhang Shen laughed. He asked him that he couldn't even think about it. Could he? The poison on the needles in this ring was specially developed by his family, and no one will be able to handle it except him. In less than 15 minutes, his meridians will be destroyed, and he will turn into a pool of BL. Zhang Shen kept laughing. Lin Fan stared at this ring in silence. The poor old man who was sitting on the roof said that Zhang Shen was a rat now, at all the meridians of Brother Lin's body are sealed. Excruciating pain will follow. Lin Fan asked if he really thought that. Zhang Shen was surprised and asked what. Lin Fan showed him this ring on his finger, and said he meant he was so sure his poison was effective. Right after that, Lin Fan made it so that all the poison from this ring gathered together. Zhang Shen was very surprised and asked what he took all the poison out of his body. It's just not possible his family's poison was actually. Lin Fan chuckled and asked what, and he calls it poison. He's so funny. The poor old man who was watching all this laughed. He said, what an incredible guy. The Zhang family is good at cooking poisons, even he wouldn't be able to get rid of it so quickly. Zhang Shen was very unlucky this time. The girl who was lying behind Lin Fan said that it was just unbelievable. Even Marin Kin wouldn't be able to get rid of this poison so easily. Zhang Shen collapsed to the ground. He was shaking all over and he said, "No, it's just impossible. The poison of his Zhang family, it's impossible." Lin Fan told him to stop talking already. His poison is just garbage. Maybe his poison will be useful in hell. After which, he grabbed Zhang Shen's head. Zhang Shen started coughing, after which he stiffened and fell down. Lin Fan said that immortal energy was bubbling in his body. Does he really think that his poison can harm him? Meanwhile, the poor old man had already jumped off the roof. Lin Fan turned to him and asked how he was. The poor old man said he was fine. "Brother, Lin's medical abilities are impressive." After which he turned to Maranshu, but Lin Fan didn't let him say anything, and said that he should be sure that everything was fine. He asked him if he could take a look at the artificially grown Lotus 9 treasures. The poor old man didn't tell him anything. When Lin Fan repeated his question and asked if he would let him take a look at it, the old poor man tensed up and asked him what he meant. After that, he hugged Lin Fan and laughing, said that, "Of course you can. If it wasn't for his help today, this Lotus 9 treasure would have fallen into evil hands. He must follow him." Lin Fan followed him and thought, that's how it was. The safest place is always in the most dangerous. After that, he cured Maranshu and told her he was coming with them. The poor old man stopped them and told them to wait here for a while. The poor old man walked up to the wall and pushed it. Then a secret door opened. The poor old man told them to go down. Lin Fan followed right behind the poor old man. And then something blinded them. Lin Fan covered his eyes with his hands and said that this light is very bright. The poor old man told him to relax, because he would soon get used to them already in place. Then they opened their eyes, and we saw a completely different place. The old poor man said that this was the place where he cultivated the Lotus 9 treasures. Lin Fan began to look around and said that it was unexpected. The dungeon he turned into a whole new world. Looks amazing. The old poor man told him that he saw him. He liked it very much. He spent a lot of years thinking about how to simulate sunlight here and grow plants. He grinned and said that 80 years old. He believes that it was all not in vain. Maranshu said it was very beautiful here. Lin Fan thought that this old man had done everything by himself, and it's really great. If he enters the immortal world, then his future will be limitless. However, his body is like a candle in the wind. If he hadn't met him, he would have died in 3 years. The poor old man said that the Lotus of 9 treasures is already near. He should follow him. Lin Fan said it was fine. He turned to Maranshu and said that she was coming too. After some time, they came to the pond. The poor old man did something and the water parted by opening a passage for them. Lin Fan was surprised and said that it was the Lotus of 9 treasures. The poor old man took the lotus in his hands and said that it was not bad. This is the Lotus of 9 treasures that he has been cultivating for 80 years. Lin Fan said it was very good. It is almost the same as the real Lotus 9 treasures. If the Che in his body was pure, then his lotus would surpass the real one. Maranshu said that people can actually grow Lotus 9 treasures. It really opens their eyes too. The poor old man put away the lotus and said, "Thank you for the praise." Lin Fan asked him that, "By the way, what is the elder's name?" The old poor man asked. What was his? It had been a long time since he had been asked this question. He turned to Maranshu and asked that, "How is Miranda doing?" The girl was surprised and asked if he really knew their elder. The poor old man laughed and said that he was much more than just a friend. He showed a sign on his forehead, and he said that his name was Marangwu. Lin Fan asked if he was also from this family. The old poor man hid this sign on his forehead and said that he was a member of this family 80 years ago. It's just a mark of this family, he can't get rid of it in any way. 80 years ago, until he was successful, Miranda, this old man, did not even think about him. But as soon as he heard that there were results of his work, he immediately sent it as a gift. In fact, he's his brother. A good brother. Lin Fan said, "What a good brother he was. Looks like they're actually brothers." The old poor man said that it was true. If he had not left this family, then he would be the elder of the Marang family right now. The girl hearing this knelt in front of him and said that the younger generation welcomes the older one. There have been many disagreements between them before, but she apologizes to him. The poor old man told her to get up because he was no longer connected with her family in any way. The girl then, and she said that in the department itself, she had heard that their elder had a brother with an unusual talent, but she didn't even think that she would meet him here. The old poor man asked Lin Fan, what should there be between him and the Moran family? Is there a blood feud? Lin Fan said that the elder was right. He and the Mujin family do not share the same love. The poor old man said it was good. In that case, these 9 treasures of the gentle lotus are specially for him. However, he hopes that he will promise him something. Lin Fan told him to talk. The old poor man said that he really hoped that he could kill Myron Da. However, he shouldn't kill his family. He must leave the heirs of his blood alive. Lin Fan asked, why did the elder think so highly of him? Does he think he can kill him? The poor old man laughed and said that he was so young, but his cultivation level was already very high. He looked at the girl and told Lin Fan that if his judgment wasn't wrong, then with his current cultivation base, even if it was him this girl, however, he is afraid that they will not be able to hold out a stick of incense. Lin Fan said that he promises him, however, doesn't he want to kill Myrongda with his own hands? The old poor man said that he was afraid that he was hopeless in this life. He knows that his body is now like a candle in the wind. Lin Fan said it was interesting, but what would he say if he said he could extend his life by 10 years? The old poor man was very surprised and asked what the girl also looked very surprised and asked what to extend her life for 10 years. The old poor man turned to him and said that he should not joke in this way, telling tall tales. The life scale of each person has a set number. Even as a great wizard, he still won't be able to change it. Lin Fan laughed and said that if a person with great supernatural powers can't even change the fate of his life, then what do they call great powers? He just says that if he wants to extend his life by 10 years, then he can do it and nothing else. All he needs is his 9 snow lotus treasures. The poor old man said it was impossible, even if we assume that the 9 treasures of the snow lotus can be found once in 1,000 years. They still have no effect on the prolongation of life. Then Lin Fan said that there was no point in talking anymore, since none of them believes it, then he will open their eyes. And he asked if the elder had a first aid kit. The poor old man said yes. Lin Fan said it was fine. Then he moved with all speed to the old poor man. The poor old man was surprised and said, what kind of speed? What is he doing? Lin Fan said that he had collected some herbs and asked if there was a pot. The poor old man said that now. After that, he took out a golden pot from his ring. Lin Fan looked at this cauldron carefully and said that the quality of this cauldron is depressing and asked if there was anything better. The poor old man scratched his head in embarrassment and said that it was. But the girl interrupted him and told him to take this one. She put a bigger cauldron on and said she thought it would do. Lin Fan said he looked great, just what he needed. Then he kicked the cauldron that the poor old man gave him and said that, and this one can be thrown away. Lin Fan said, fine. And now they all have to move away. And then he got down to business. The old poor man was surprised and said that it was King Yun. No, King Yun is cold by nature, and Xian is overbearing, and these two fires cannot mix together. Lin Fan said that the elder cultivation is not high enough. The old poor man said that there is someone in this world who can mix two completely different fires. Who is he? Lin Fan said to stop talking, because it throws him off the rhythm. The poor old man said it was good, and then Lin Fan began to mix all his ingredients. Lin Fan said it was time to mix the snow lotus seeds, and he added 1 seed to his mess. There was a small explosion. The old poor man began to look at what was there. From what he saw, he was very surprised and said that it was the same. It's just unbelievable. The girl said that no one in her entire family has such an ability. She thought that it was simply impossible. How could a mere mortal create an elixir of immortality? Lin Fan picked up this pill and said that this pill could extend his life by 10 years, and he himself thought that there were still 8 lotus seeds left. Is it possible to improve so many more things? As for the 9 treasures of the snow lotus, he can use them to break through to the next stage. He threw this pill to the poor old man and told him to take it. The poor old man looked at this pill and asked if this pill would really prolong his life. Lin Fan told him to try and find out. Then the poor old man said he had no choice but to try anyway, after which he swallowed this pill. The poor old man fell to the ground. Lang Fan said that this pill is similar to Shenmi, which is able to restore the disturbed meridians in his body and strengthen his danshan. It's a bit painful, however, he should be able to handle it. The girl was very worried and said that the elder was in so much pain. Lin Fan told her not to worry, because everything will pass very soon. After a while, Lin Fan smiled and said that it looked like it was over. The old poor man got up. He looked at his body and asked, "Is it really still him?" Lin Fan said he could check. The poor old man said it was good. The poor old man tried his strength and said that his body had become so strong. He checked his meridians, said that all his meridians were in perfect order. Lin Fan said, yes. However, not only did the meridians completely heal, but Dian Qian's vitality became much greater than before. Didn't it? The old poor man knelt before him and said that the kindness of his younger brother was unforgettable. Lin Fan said it was nothing, and he asked that however he could take the remaining snow lotuses, couldn't he? The poor old man said that, of course, as long as the younger brother helps him get rid of Miranda. Lin Fan thanked him, after which he walked over to him and helped him up. Miranda said that most likely he would actually be able to kill Miranda. Meanwhile, Lin Yanxia found himself in a cave somewhere. He was badly injured, and said that this Lin Fan, so deep, thought is such an intimidating cultivation base. Did he almost die at his hands? But first he needs to take care of his body urgently. He took out some kind of pill from his ring and took it, after which he said that he had to report Lin Fan's affairs to the patriarch. He was able to contact his elder. Lin Yanxia told him that Lin Yanxian's disciple had urgent news that he had to report immediately. The elder asked him, "What? Why was he so worried?" Lin Yanxia said it was about Lin Fan. The elder asked, "What is Lin Fan?" "This is the young man who applied for a place in their Lin family, isn't it?" Lin Yanxia said, "Yes. This Lin Fan is much stronger than they thought. Moreover, he already has a cultivation foundation." The elder was surprised and asked if he was sure. Lin Yanyan said it was true. Zhao Bufan and Chen Jishan died at his hands. If it wasn't for his rescue cards, he's not sure if he would have been able to get out of there alive at all. The elder said that if this was true, then they could no longer underestimate Lin Fan. It's time for him to return home so that they can deal with this situation together. Lin Yanxia said it was fine. He got up and said he needed to get back to his family, and with Lin Fan, they will see each other later. Meanwhile, at the residence of the Cheng family, a man was having fun with a girl. She was feeding him some sweets. It was the patriarch of the Cheng family, Cheng Bendao. He asked the girls if they would play at him a little more, but then he felt something and alarmed. Caught up and asked if the aura of Cheng Jian's spiritual weapon had really disappeared. Is he really dead? He called the messenger. Cheng Bendao told him that Cheng Jishan is dead. He should go and find out how it happened. The messenger said, "That's right." Cheng Bendao said it was just nonsense. He couldn't even take care of such a small matter. He is useless. He sat down on the sofa again and exhaled, saying that he needed to forget about it. From the very beginning, he was just trash. Did his death affect anything? There is a chance that Shiming should be there in person. Lin Fan brought them to his home. Miss Shu asked, "Is that where he lives?" Lin Fan asked, "What and what is too bad?" The girl giggled, said that it was simple but clean. The poor old man laughed and said that, "Yes, it was simple and good. And I asked him if he could change his clothes. It's torn clothes. It hurts his reputation." Lin Fan laughed and said that he thought he was too holy to care about his appearance. The poor old man sighed and said that he thought he was going to die soon, and now he has 10 years of life, so of course, he should take better care of himself. Lin Fan said that it was fine. He would prepare something. The girl asked him if he had a butler. Lin Fan was surprised and asked what he never hired. The girl said that she advises him to hire a good butler, who will help organize daily business. And it's even better to move to another house, although this area is very nice, but the area of the house is too small. She heard that he has a younger sister, which is even more inconvenient. Lang Fen said that everything she says makes sense. He thought that he really needed someone to help him. He can't rely on Zining and Wei Lao all the time. The girl asked if she didn't mind if she rested a little. The poor old man said that he would too, because he had not slept and on the ground for too long. Lin Fan said that while they should rest properly. And he delivered the phone and called Ning's brother. He said he would have to bother him. Brother Ning answered his call and asked what happened. Lin Fan said he needed a housekeeper. He had to help him out. Brother Ning said it wasn't a problem. He would help him organize everything right now. Then their call ended. Brother Ning said that it looks like Lin Fan is finally going to develop his own strength. Just now, Lin Fan came out of the shower and taking his phone, said that it looked like Brother Ning had already managed to find some resumes. He looked them over and said they were good guys. They all graduated from prestigious international schools with an annual salary above 2 million. He opened the resume of a man named Li Gudan. He is 75 years old with 55 years of experience. He's pretty good. But then we looked through the following summary and was a little surprised. It was a woman named Liu Xinyu. She is 26 years old and graduated from a special college for butlers in London. Height, 170 centimeters, good character and looks. Sounds cool. After that, he called Ning's brother again, asked him if he could conduct an interview with Li Zhendong and Liu Xiyu. Brother Ning said he understood. After some time, he called him back. Lin Fan asked, "Is there any news yet?" Brother Ning wrote that it was ready. They would both arrive for an interview within an hour. Lin Fan said that, as expected from Brother Ning, everything is very fast, then he'll wait. Within an hour, Liu Dinyu came to him by taxi. She looked at the building and asked, "What is it here? The environment is really fascinating." Then she rang the bell. Lin Fan said they were fast. Then he opened the door. He told the girl to sit down. Liu Xinyu looked at him carefully and thought, "What is this person? He's so young. Did he have rich parents?" Lin Fan asked her if she knew his needs.